Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales. Chapter 50-26. Kong Xinmu used the time that he had devoured to surround himself. In the shrine of the small universe, Kong Xinmu's time flowed extremely slowly. Soon, half a day had passed in the outside world. Kong Xinmu had also cultivated for 75 days in the shrine of the small universe. In these 75 days, Kong Xinmu had a deeper understanding of the power of the starry sky inheritance. He had also devoured many space-condensed essences and absorbed all the space attribute power of nothingness into his body. He was getting closer and closer to the Transcendent God Stage 3. However, Kong Xinmu estimated that he would need at least 3 or 4 more such seclusion cultivation sessions before he could finally break through to the Transcendent God Stage 3. It was not easy to improve the power of the starry sky inheritance. Even if one had sufficient cultivation resources, it would not be easy to break through in a short period of time. That was why Kong Xinmu had used the technique of devouring time to cultivate in seclusion for a long period of time. If he had not done so, it would have been difficult for Kong Xinmu to break through even after a year. Kong Xinmu calculated the time and left the shrine of the small universe a little earlier than usual. When he came out, he saw the Transcendent God Stage 2 from the Great Bat Clan, who had been devoured by him, gradually recovering from the state of time being devoured. He was even preparing to counterattack. It was difficult for Kong Xinmu to use the power of the heaven deficiency on the same opponent. After all, the opponent had been devoured once and was already immune to it. The opponent had already developed a resistance to the power of the heaven deficiency. If he wanted to continue cultivating, Kong Xinmu would have to find someone else. However, Kong Xinmu did not intend to let the guy in front of him off. 9th level Ultimate Roaring Dragon Explosion. Kong Xinmu did not hesitate. Before the opponent could react, he used his strongest attack in the time acceleration domain. 9th level Ultimate Roaring Dragon Explosion. Although he didn't activate the Ninefold Rose Stone or the Nether Rose Stone, Kong Xinmu was able to unleash several Ninefold Ultimate Dragon Bursts in the time acceleration domain. In the previous arena battles, Kong Xinmu had to unleash the 9th stage Extreme Dao Turtle Dragon Explosion several times in succession before he managed to blast through his opponent's tortoise shell. And this time, Kong Xinmu also used the 9th stage Extreme Dao Hui Dragon Explosion hundreds of times. After all, Kong Xinmu did not mix in the power of the galaxy inheritance, so the destructive power of a single attack was not that strong. Fortunately, there was enough time for Kong Xinmu to stack 500 times of the 9th stage Extreme Dao Hui Dragon Explosion and bombard the same weak point of the Great Bat Race's body, the neck. As his opponent's time had been devoured, he was unable to react to the attack. For Kong Xinmu, it was too easy to deal with his opponent. Fortunately, the other party was heavily injured. Otherwise, it would not have been so easy for Kong Xinmu to devour the other party's time. The power of the heaven-deficient ice and fire was not invincible. The stronger the opponent, the more he could use techniques to block the power of the heaven-deficient. If Kong Xinmu wanted to devour his opponent's time, he could only make use of his opponent's gaps and flaws. Otherwise, he could hit his opponent with the power of the heaven-deficient before his opponent could react. At this moment, since Kong Xinmu had successfully devoured his opponent's time, it meant that his opponent did not have a chance to fight back. The power of the 9th stage Extreme Dao Hui Dragon Explosion exploded at this moment. To his opponent, he could not see Kong Xinmu's movements clearly. In the blink of an eye, Kong Xinmu's power exploded in front of the Great Bat Race's neck. The unimaginable stacking power made the Great Bat Race's level 2 Supreme God powerhouse unable to block it at all. A huge hole was blasted in his neck. However, the cultivation techniques of the Great Bat Race's powerhouses were mostly body tempering. At this moment, even though there was a huge hole in his neck, this powerhouse quickly used his recovery techniques to stop the wound on his neck. However, Kang Shinmu's devouring power had already taken this opportunity to corrode his opponent's body. The next moment, the devouring power was fully unleashed. The other party's life, flesh and essence, the other party's power, all of it was devoured by Kang Shinmu. The power that Kang Shinmu had expended was completely restored at this moment. Moreover, the great bat race's body was getting weaker and weaker. This transcendent God level 2 supreme God powerhouse was still thinking of a way to fight back. All the combat weapons on his body flew up. The wind attribute power that belonged to the great bat race roared and exploded in all directions. At this moment, this place, which was originally relatively secluded, caused a huge commotion. It would definitely attract the attention of the surrounding people. This fellow is starting to struggle on his deathbed. It's hard to deal with him. Kang Shinmu was a little vexed. If that was the case, someone might come here soon and discover his and the other party's tracks. He knew that there was a small team of dragon gods chasing after this great bat race powerhouse. He did not intend to snatch the spoils of war from the other party. In short, he could leave after trapping the other party. Therefore, Kang Shinmu did not hesitate. This great bat race powerhouse did not necessarily need to be killed by him. Void Star Prohibition. Kang Shinmu used this Starry Sky inheritance technique to envelop the great bat race powerhouse in a Starry Sky power seal. Then, he left quietly. The great bat race powerhouse was still bombarding the surrounding Void Star Prohibition power. Unfortunately, it was not something that he could break in a short time. Not long after, the small team of dragon gods that was originally chasing after him arrived. Realizing that the great bat race powerhouse had been severely injured again, the few people in the small team of dragon gods were in disbelief. Someone actually found this great bat race powerhouse and injured him to this extent. Yet, they did not kill him. Could it be that he caused a commotion and ran away? At least that fellow knows his place. He did not snatch our spoils of war. Someone in the small team of dragon gods said. As for Kang Shinmu, he could not be bothered with them. His only goal was to devour time to cultivate. As for how the great bat race powerhouse died, he was not interested at all. Just as the small team of dragon gods and the great bat race powerhouse were engaged in the final battle, Kang Shinmu was already on his way to find his next target. At this very moment, Gu Xinyue and the rest had made a breakthrough in their cultivation and reached the level of Transcendent God Level 2. If the four of them were to join forces, they might be able to defeat a Transcendent God Level 3 powerhouse. Moreover, it would be a relatively easy task. Therefore, Kang Shinmu planned to let them practice if there was a chance. Of course, the most important thing now was to find more Transcendent God-level great bat race powerhouses and devour their time. Chapter 50-27. The inheritance power of the heaven-lacking demonic dragon of ice and fire was fully utilized by Kang Shinmu at that moment. One target after another became the target of his devouring of time. During this period, there were still some failures. That was because the opponent's senses were too sharp. They reacted the moment Kang Shinmu attacked and protected themselves. However, in the next half a month, Kang Shinmu still devoured 5 targets. 4 of them were first-stage transcendent gods, and one of them was a second-stage transcendent god just like the first guy. After devouring such opponents, Kang Shinmu obtained a total of nearly 10 months of cultivation time. During these 10 months of cultivation, Kang Shinmu spent almost all of his time in the Temple of the Small Universe. He surrounded himself with the power of time conversion, allowing him to spend more time than others. For Gu Xinyue and the others, only half a month had passed. However, for Kang Shinmu, he had already cultivated in this time-accelerated domain for more than a year. This also allowed him to finally reach a peak in terms of the inheritance of the power of the starry sky. It was not easy to improve from second-stage transcendent god. After cultivating in the time-accelerated domain for a year, Kang Xinmu finally reached the edge of a breakthrough. When the last space crystal was devoured by Kang Xinmu, his inheritance of the power of the starry sky finally transformed in the temple. Countless insights of the power of the starry sky rose in Kang Xinmu's mind at that moment. These insights, along with the space attribute void power, surrounded Kang Xinmu's entire body and wrapped him tightly. The power of the starry sky inheritance in his body completely condensed and broke through. As the power of the starry sky inheritance in his body transformed, his own power of the starry sky inheritance finally reached the third stage transcendent God grade. If he had been in the outside world, his breakthrough and transformation would have shocked the space. If he had been in the 5 extremes mysterious ice city or the 5 extremes mysterious ice holy land, he would have attracted the attention of many people. But within this small starry sky world, the surrounding spatial energy was extremely stable. Such a breakthrough was unable to shake the space within the small starry sky world at all. This obviously showed how formidable the seniors that created this minor world in the starry sky were. The space in this small starry sky world was actually much more stable than the space in the outside world. This was the power of the starry sky inheritance. When Kang Xinmu finally broke through, it meant that he could finally continue with this operation. He had killed Deputy General Yu Fu, who was at the 4th stage of the Transcendent God stage. To Kang Xinmu, Deputy General Yu Fu was originally an invincible existence. However, now, he was confident that he could fight against him. Just by relying on his Transcendent God Stage Level 3 Starry Sky inheritance, he was confident that he could block his opponent's attack. With the addition of Gu Xinyue and the other 3, Kang Xinmu was confident that he could defeat his opponents. Of course, the key now was how to find Deputy General Youfu. Deputy General Youfu was extremely powerful. If there were other Emperor Bat race experts around, it would be extremely difficult for Kang Xinmu to kill his opponents. Although Kang Xinmu had been appearing and disappearing mysteriously on this battlefield for the past half a month and did not leave any traces, his opponents did not even know that he had arrived on the battlefield. However, Kang Xinmu was not sure that once he appeared in front of Deputy General Youfu, would he run away or would he gather experts to deal with Kang Xinmu? If we want to kill Deputy General Youfu in a more stable manner, we can take a gamble. Kang Xinmu called Gu Xinyue and the others out to discuss together. This was what Gu Xinyue said. Gamble? What do you mean? Chen Chong did not understand what Gu Xinyue meant. Gu Xinyue then explained, Deputy General Youfu is a transcendent God stage level 4 existence. We can bet on his character. Is he cautious or greedy and rash? We can design a plan for both aspects. If he is greedy, Kang Xinmu could only deal with a Transcendent God Stage Level 3. If he meets a Transcendent God Stage Level 4, he will definitely run away. If that's the case, Deputy General Youfu might want to capture Kang Xinmu the moment he sees him. This way, it will be a great contribution to their camp. Moreover, we can save Princess Qi Yen of the Talisman Aqua race. It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. If the other party is so greedy and rash, we only need to lure him into a trap that we've set up beforehand. We'll be able to trap him and take care of him slowly. We don't need to worry about other people affecting the battle. But he might be the cautious type. Under such circumstances, when he sees Kang Xinmu, he might put away his thoughts and order all the Emperor Bats to gather together and prepare to retreat. And if he's preparing to retreat, we can also set up an ambush along his retreat route in advance. What do you think, Kang Xinmu? Gu Xinyue winked at Kang Xinmu. She looked extremely cute. Kang Xinmu smiled and nodded. Not bad. This method should work, but first, I have to find this Vice General Nether Fu. I don't know where he is right now. I've been wandering around the battlefield for the past half a month, but I haven't sensed his aura at all. We can only split up and look for him. After all, this battlefield is too big. Although your perception range is very far, it is less than 1% of the battlefield. How can it be easy to find a fixed target? Gu Xingyue suggested. Coincidentally, the few of us have broken through to Transcendent God Stage Level 2. As long as we use the concealment method of the Starry Sky Inheritance, those who are not at Transcendent God Stage Level 4 will not be able to find us. Even if there are some traps, we can easily avoid them. I think we should split up and look for him. That's the only way. Sorry for the trouble. Kang Xinmu nodded. It's no trouble at all. Chen Chong and Wei Xiaoning immediately laughed. They were doing quite well now, and they had great expectations for the future. It was important to know that they had basically exhausted their potential when they were with the demon god race. Now that they were cultivating the Starry Sky Inheritance, they saw an unprecedented future. They might be able to create another race in the future, and they would become the founders of this race. This was also very possible, provided that they could live to that moment. As long as they could live and reach the supreme level in the Starry Sky small world, they might be able to witness the arrival of that day. Chapter 50-28. Of course, if he wanted to reach the supreme level, he would also need to have the corresponding combat experience. If they did not have the corresponding battle experience, even if they reached the supreme level, their battle power would be much weaker than others. This situation was almost intolerable for ambitious cultivators. Therefore, every time they increased the level of the galaxy power of inheritance, they wanted to train in actual battle experience. Every time Kang Xinmu accepted a mission, they would have the opportunity to fight against opponents who were stronger than them. This way, it would be of great help to increase their actual battle experience. After the discussion was over, everyone dispersed. Gu Xingyue and Chu Yueqiang formed a team, while Chen Chong and Wei Xiaoning formed another team. They moved together in pairs to prevent any accidents. After all, this battlefield was not like the previous battlefield. In the entire battlefield, level 4 transcendental gods were not the strongest enemies. It was very likely that they would encounter a transcendent god level 5 or level 6 existence, or even stronger opponents. This was because the Great Bat Clan was using this battlefield as their main target. They might send stronger existences over at any time. Once they encountered an existence of this level, they might try to escape in pairs. Otherwise, if they encountered such an opponent alone, they would probably die. As for Kang Xinmu, he naturally moved alone. The 5 of them split into 3 directions and spread out across the entire battlefield, each looking for their target. There was more than one level 4 transcendental god on the battlefield. If they encountered a level 4 transcendental god, they had to first confirm the identity of the opponent and confirm that it was Deputy General Yu Fu before they could attack. Of course, if it was another level 4 transcendental god, it was not that they could not try to kill him. However, if they caused too much of a commotion, it would be difficult to attract Deputy General Yu Fu out. Kang Xinmu was alone. He started to fully activate his senses and wandered around the complex cave. His senses told him that there were many supreme god-level Great Bat Clan and dragon gods around him. However, none of them had reached level 4 transcendental god. Therefore, he could only conceal himself and continue moving forward. Due to the strengthening of the galaxy power of inheritance, unless one reached level 5 or level 6 transcendental god, it was impossible to find him. In other words, he could sweep across the entire battlefield at the fastest speed to find his target. Unless he encountered a super strong existence, his path forward would not be blocked. Along the way, Jiang Shenwu saw many scenes of fierce battles, but he did not participate in any of them. After all, his appearance on this battlefield was still a secret until now. Regardless of whether it was the practitioners of Emperor Bat Clan or Dragon God's clan, they still did not know that he had come here. Therefore, before he found Deputy General Yu Fu, he must not reveal his existence. No matter what, Jiang Shenwu would only make a move when he was 100% certain of success. Sometimes, the opportunity was just too good. Not only would he not expose himself, but he could also easily defeat his opponent and obtain some cultivation resources. In that case, Jiang Shenwu would still choose to take action. After all, the Great Bat Clan was one of the biggest forces that had invaded the Dragon Gods this time. At the two holy lands of the Dragon Gods world, the Great Bat Clan and the Dragon Gods were in a long standoff. If not for them, the war would not have lasted so long. At the two holy lands of the Dragon Gods world, the Great Bat Clan and the Dragon Gods world were in a long standoff. If not for them, the war would not have lasted so long. As Kang Xinmu wandered around, he killed many Supreme God-level experts of the Great Bat Clan. There were level 1 and level 2 transcendental gods, but Kang Xinmu did not touch level 3 transcendental gods. Because of the existence of level 3 transcendental gods, it was difficult for Kang Xinmu to kill them instantly. Once he caused a commotion, it would not be worth it. But even if he only killed a few level 1 and level 2 transcendental gods, it was already a bountiful harvest. One must know that on this battlefield, the Divine Bat Clan only had a total of over 100 Supreme God-level experts. Jiang Shenwu alone, including when he was devouring time previously, had already killed over 10 Supreme God-level experts. If the other party had sensed that something was amiss, they should have sensed it as well. However, they probably wouldn't have thought that it was Jiang Shenwu who had made a move. Moreover, it was impossible for news to spread so quickly on such a complicated battlefield. It would take a long time for the commander to hear about the death of these Supreme God-level experts. It was even possible that no one knew that so many Supreme God-level experts had been killed. Kang Xinmu attacked as fast as he could and ended it as fast as he could. After that, he quickly hid and left the scene. He did not attract anyone's attention. Finally, not long after, he felt a strong aura. It came from the edge of his perception. It was the aura of a level 4 transcendental god expert, and it was the aura of an expert from the Great Bat Clan. As for whether it was the Deputy General of Yufu, he did not know. But in any case, Kang Xinmu had to go and take a look. Search for my work, number 1 God of all ages, there will be a surprise. Just as Kang Xinmu found the aura of a level 4 transcendental god expert, Gu Xinyue and Chu Yueqiang also felt the aura of a level 4 transcendental god expert. It was also the Deputy General of the Great Bat Clan. Although their cultivation level of the inheritance of the power of the galaxy was 1 level lower than Kang Xinmu's, their ability to hide was no weaker than Kang Xinmu's. The two girls had put a lot of effort into the inheritance of the power of the galaxy. Even without the help of the devouring power, they had mastered many star runes. Naturally, they had learned the concealment method first, which was useful in many situations. Many star runes combined to produce a concealment effect. With their current cultivation level of the power of the galaxy, they could at least hide from a level 5 transcendental god. If they met a level 5 transcendental god with a stronger perception, they might be able to discover them. However, the probability of a level 4 transcendental god discovering them was extremely low. When they sensed the aura of the level 4 transcendental god expert, they approached him secretly. Very soon, they realized that this person was indeed the Deputy General of Yufu. Moreover, this Deputy General was still in the cave. Behind him were 2 level 3 transcendental god subordinates. They were discussing the situation of the entire battlefield. Chapter 50-29. It's really Deputy General Yufu. It's a pity that he has 2 experts protecting him. It's a little too difficult to lure Deputy General Yufu out without alerting those 2 experts. Gu Xinyue and Chu Yueqiang were in a dilemma. They could only retreat slightly and stay away from the cave. Then, they passed the message to Kang Xinmu and Chen Zhao, who were walking in the other 2 directions. Chen Chong and Wei Xiaoning were closer to them and could rush over quickly. Kang Xinmu, on the other hand, was further away. Moreover, he could sense that there was a level 4 expert in his direction. Hence, he wanted to go over and see if there was a chance. Everyone communicated through the power of the starry sky inheritance. No one could discover such a long-distance communication. After all, no one could sense the information transmitted in the void. Moreover, this was a power that the divine Bat clan had never understood before. Even if they wanted to sense it, they would not be able to. Therefore, the 5 of them could communicate and strategize from afar. Very soon, everyone made a decision. Gu Xinyue and the other 3 would monitor Deputy General Yu Fu first. At the same time, they would observe the terrain within a 1,000-mile radius to see if there was any place where they could set up a trap. As for Kang Xinmu, he would first check out the situation of the level 4 expert. If there was a good opportunity, he would kill his opponent. To Kang Xinmu, this was his first challenging battle after reaching level 3. Of course, if the opportunity was not good, Kang Xinmu would not force it. It would be better to deal with Deputy General Yu Fu first. Kang Xinmu walked forward and finally found a rather open area. He could feel the aura of the level 4 expert not far away. As he got closer, Kang Xinmu sensed that there seemed to be another aura here. It was deliberately hidden by someone, as if they did not want others to discover it. This made him rather curious. He hid his body and walked forward slowly. After going around 2 mountain peaks and stone forests, his senses became clearer. It's some kind of natural treasure. Kang Xinmu's heart skipped a beat. Although it was still a little vague, he could still feel the aura of a natural treasure. Moreover, it was a treasure that contained a natural earth attribute. It was very likely to be some kind of rare spiritual essence. Someone had discovered this treasure and had protected and hidden it while it was being unearthed. There were also many concealment barriers set up around it, making it difficult for others to easily sense the aura of this treasure. Unfortunately, for Kang Xinmu, his senses were too sharp, and these barriers were unable to completely block his senses. It was mainly the aura of the Supreme God stage for existence that had attracted Kang Xinmu over. It was only when he got close that Kang Xinmu could sense the aura of the treasure. Judging from the aura of this earth attribute treasure, I'm afraid it's a high-grade spiritual chi essence. It was actually born in this place. This Tianhua fortress was originally a rather important source of resources for the dragon gods. Although it was a defense line in the outer realm, it was also a source of many resources. It mainly produced some earth attribute cultivation resources. This included earth attribute spiritual chi essence, and so on. Every year, the earth attribute spiritual chi essence produced in the small world of the Tianhua fortress was worth more than a few million gold dragon coins. The treasure that appeared in front of Kang Xinmu was a high-grade earth attribute spiritual chi essence. Its value was equivalent to hundreds of ordinary earth attribute spiritual chi essence. Without a doubt, Kang Xinmu was tempted. This high-grade earth attribute spiritual chi essence was worth at least 100,000 gold dragon coins. If it was convenient, Kang Xinmu would naturally kill someone to get the treasure. Currently, Kang Xinmu did not sense the presence of any experts in the surroundings. As for the high-grade earth attribute spiritual chi essence, it felt like it would mature soon and be unearthed. To Kang Xinmu, this was almost a godsend opportunity. He concealed himself and slowly went around the experts in front of him. Finally, he could see the situation in front of him with his naked eyes. This was a valley surrounded by forests. There were all kinds of lush plants in the valley. There was also a 4th-stage Supreme God expert hidden in the forest. It was as if he had become one with the forest. Kang Xinmu could not clearly see where the other party was at a glance. If it were not for the super-strong perception that he had obtained after merging with the centipede ink beast, Kang Xinmu would not have known that there was a 4th-stage Supreme God expert here. What is that? The corpses of the dragon gods. Kang Xinmu's eyes were sharp. Very quickly, he discovered that there were many corpses of the dragon gods in the forest. The dragon gods were all emperor-class and king-class existences. There was even a first-stage supreme god expert who died here. The injuries on their bodies were all the same. They were all killed by earth attribute power. It seemed like they were killed by the hidden fourth-stage supreme god expert. It seems like it's time to kill this guy and take revenge for them, Kang Xinmu thought to himself. With a cold humph, he concealed himself and moved forward. He was prepared to take action. He would first kill the fourth-stage supreme god expert. Then, he would obtain the earth attribute high-grade spiritual energy essence. It did not matter to Kang Xinmu whether he wanted it or not. His main goal was to kill the fourth-stage supreme god expert. If the fourth-stage supreme god expert of the Great Bat race was killed by Kang Xinmu would receive more than 100,000 gold dragon coins. Hence, to Kang Xinmu, the high-grade spiritual energy essence was not as important as the fourth-stage supreme god expert himself. He had to succeed in one strike. He could not give the other party any chance. Kang Xinmu concealed himself and approached. As he got closer, he finally found the fourth-stage supreme god expert who was hidden in the void. The fourth-stage supreme god expert of the Great Bat race was completely hidden in the void. Ordinary people would not be able to discover him. However, he could not escape Kang Xinmu's senses. This guy was hiding at the entrance of the dense forest valley. As long as someone wanted to enter the dense forest and check the high-level earth elemental spiritual energy essence, he would launch a sneak attack. Not to mention a transcendent god level 1, even a transcendent god level 3 dragon martial artist might be killed by him. At that moment, Kang Xinmu thought of a plan. He hid his body and quietly formed a starry mystical dragon doppelganger. This starry mystical dragon doppelganger was not an illusion. Instead, it was a physical entity formed by the power of the galaxy inheritance. It looked like it had the cultivation of a first-stage supreme god. This starry mystical dragon looked like it had appeared from a hidden space. It slowly approached the entrance of the dense forest valley. This scene fell directly into the eyes of the Great Bat clan powerhouse who was hiding. Evidently, Kang Xinmu could feel that the Great Bat race expert was preparing to attack. Chapter 50-30. When Kang Xinmu formed the astral divine dragon shadow, he also gathered the power of the galaxy inheritance and started to set up a killing formation around the entrance of the dense forest valley. The galaxy killing formation was a technique that Gu Xinyue had used previously. This technique was extremely lethal and had the effect of sealing the void. It made it impossible for anyone in the killing formation to escape unless they were much stronger than the person who had set up the killing formation. However, the Supreme God Level 4 Divine Bat Clan expert before him had not reached the level where he could break through Kang Xinmu's killing formation. Once Kang Xinmu's galaxy killing formation was completed, the Divine Bat Clan expert would definitely die. However, it would still take a long time for Jiang Xinwu's Starry Sky killing formation to be completed. On one hand, Kang Xinmu was not familiar with the galaxy killing formation. Although he had practiced it many times, this was the first time he had used it in actual combat. On the other hand, Kang Xinmu had to hide the power of the killing formation while he was setting up the galaxy killing formation. This made it much more difficult for him to set up the killing formation. It was at least 10 times more difficult than setting up a killing formation directly. Once the other party discovered it, the other party would be alerted and destroy Kang Xinmu's galaxy killing formation before it was completed. If the other party discovered Kang Xinmu's movements, then Kang Xinmu's sneak attack would fail. Although he would not be in any danger, he would have alerted the other party. It would not be easy to kill the Supreme God Level 4 Divine Bat Clan expert. Therefore, Kang Xinmu had to succeed in one go. While setting up the galaxy killing formation, Kang Xinmu was gathering and controlling the astral divine dragon avatar. The body of the stellar divine dragon avatar seemed to be carefully flying towards the valley. On the surface, it looked like it had the cultivation of a transcendent god stage 1. However, this was just an illusion. This was a technique of the star inheritance, formed by the condensation of stellar runes. Once such a starry divine dragon shadow was attacked by the supreme god stage 4 expert from the Great Bat clan, it would be destroyed instantly. Therefore, Kang Xinmu had to do his best to delay the other party before he attacked and before he could finish setting up the starry sky killing formation. There's another one. Jiang Xinwu's timing was just right. Just as his opponent was about to take action and deal with the starry divine dragon clone at the entrance of the dense forest valley, Jiang Xinwu immediately condensed another starry divine dragon clone, which appeared in the void not far away. This scene made the supreme god stage 4 expert of the Great Bat clan's heart skip a beat. His expression changed slightly and he put away his plan to attack directly. Instead, he continued to hide in the dark and observe the situation. Kang Xinmu was just stalling for time. However, he was the only one who could buy time like this. After all, creating this astral divine dragon doppelganger required too much power. Otherwise, the doppelganger that was created would be clearly fake. Therefore, when Kang Xinmu created the astral divine dragon doppelganger previously, he had already used up more than half of his power. He had to continuously devour some monster cores and devil cores in order to maintain the consumption of his starry sky killing formation. Now that he had created another astral divine dragon doppelganger, what little power he had left was directly used up. However, he continued to devour monster cores and devil cores to quickly replenish his depleted power. Although this consumed a lot of power, to Kang Xinmu, it was the only feasible method. How could it be easy to sneak an attack on a supreme god stage 4 expert from the Great Bat clan? At this moment, Kang Xinmu had no choice but to be extremely careful. Under his caution, his opponent temporarily stopped and lay dormant. He observed the actions of the two starry divine dragon doppelganger that had appeared in front of him. Under Kang Xinmu's control, the two starry divine dragon doppelganger advanced slowly towards the dense forest valley. Moreover, the two starry divine dragon doppelganger seemed to be communicating with each other. The one in front was urging the one behind, while the one behind wanted to wait for a while. Kang Xinmu pretended to create the impression that there were other starry divine dragons behind him so that the supreme god stage 4 expert would not dare to act rashly. Just as the supreme god stage 4 expert was hesitating, Kang Xinmu quickly set up the starry sky killing formation. Although there was still some time before it was completed, at least he had temporarily stalled his opponent. Hurry up, hurry up. Jiang Xinwu wished that he could instantly arrange the starry sky killing array. However, the reason why this killing array had such tyrannical lethality was because of the complexity of the starry sky runes. If it wasn't so complex, it wouldn't have the effect of killing stronger opponents. Kang Xinmu continuously set up the formation eyes of the starry sky killing formation one after another. He connected these formation eyes around the dense forest valley entrance. These formation eyes were all hidden in another void. At the moment, unless there was a supreme god stage 7 or above there, it would be impossible for them to discover the formation eyes of the killing formation that Kang Xinmu had set up. Finally, the other party could not wait any longer. In Kang Xinmu's perception, it seemed like he could attack at any time and kill the two starry divine dragon doppelganger that Kang Xinmu had formed. At this moment, Kang Xinmu suddenly made up his mind and formed two starry divine dragon doppelganger again. For this, he devoured many devil cores and devil cores. These were all left over from his previous training. Now, Kang Xinmu still had quite a lot left, so he did not feel the pinch when he spent them. The two astral divine dragons appeared to be stronger and larger than the previous two. They even had a stronger aura as they appeared out of thin air. From the looks of it, they were supreme god stage 2 beings. When the four starry divine dragon doppelganger gathered together, the Supreme God Stage 4 was shocked. If two Supreme God Stage 1 beings were not a threat to him, then two more Supreme God Stage 2 beings were a threat to him. If he was not careful, he might expose himself. If he did not kill the four starry divine dragons in an instant, then there was a possibility that the news of the high-level spiritual energy essence would be leaked. Once the starry divine dragons wanted to escape, it would be very difficult for the powerful Emperor Bat clan to stop a few of them at the same time. Therefore, Kang Xinmu discovered a scene that made him want to laugh. The Supreme God Stage 4 from the Great Bat clan had started to set up a space ceiling formation around the dense forest valley entrance. This kind of formation could not be maintained for too long. It was set up at the last minute. Moreover, the other party had also set it up secretly, trying to avoid being discovered by the four starry divine dragons. Very quickly, the four starry divine dragons did not gather together. Instead, they kept some distance from each other. It looked like they were trying to prevent themselves from being ambushed and killed in one fell swoop. Then, the four starry divine dragons seemed to be communicating with each other. Chapter 50-31. Both Kang Xinmu and the other party were setting up their arrays. Moreover, both parties felt that they were the hunters. However, in reality, Kang Xinmu was the ultimate hunter and the only prey in the field was the Supreme God Level 4 expert from the Great Bat clan. Kang Xinmu's astral divine dragon doppelganger was too realistic and the other party could not tell that it was just a doppelganger. He thought that it was just a four-headed dragon gods who were training there. Just as the expert from the Great Bat clan was setting up his array, Kang Xinmu's astral killing array was finally completed. Just as the astral killing array was about to be completed, the expert from the Great Bat clan realized that something was amiss. That was because the four astral divine dragon doppelgangers did not head into the dense forest valley to try and collect the high-level spiritual energy essence. This made the expert from the Great Bat clan a little suspicious. However, Kang Xinmu quickly manipulated the four astral divine dragons to create a tense atmosphere. It looked as though they were fighting over the high-level spiritual energy essence. The four astral divine dragons did not give way to each other. Even the two Supreme God Level 1 astral divine dragons did not show any signs of weakness. This made the expert from the Great Bat clan laugh coldly. So there's an internal conflict. No wonder. When faced with a treasure, it was normal for there to be some internal conflict within the team. It was not worth paying too much attention to. Therefore, the expert from the Supreme God Level 4 clan who was initially suspicious finally dispelled his suspicions. At this time, his space sealing array was finally completed. The space in this area would be sealed for a short period of time. It was enough for him to kill all four astral divine dragons. Therefore, the expert from the Great Bat clan did not continue waiting for the conflict between the four astral divine dragons to erupt. Instead, he activated the array the moment the array was completed. The surrounding space was sealed. Then, the tyrannical supreme god body of the Great Bat clan appeared in the air and flew out from the entrance of the dense forest valley. Terrifying wind attribute power swept through the entire area and turned into an endless whirlwind of blades that swept towards the four astral divine dragons. In the eyes of the expert from the Great Bat clan, the four astral divine dragons might have some means to resist, but they would definitely not be able to withstand his fierce attack. They would either be killed on the spot or turn to flee. However, the space had been sealed. It was easier said than done to flee. Hence, when the cultivator from the Emperor Bat clan attacked, he was truly high-spirited. The sharp wind elemental energy swept across the entire area. It was incomparably ferocious, as though the god of death had descended. If there was an internal conflict between the four astral divine dragons, the expert from the Great Bat clan, the expert from the four astral divine clan would be shocked. They would not be able to escape and would end up becoming the expert from the Bat clan. Unfortunately, just as the Divine Supreme God clan was attacked, the four-dragon turned and smiled at the expert from the clan. After the smile, the bodies of the four astral divine dragons dissipated at the same time and turned into endless starry sky energy. They condensed into the last four formation eyes of the starry sky killing formation and integrated into the space at the side. This scene made the expert from the Great Bat clan pale. He immediately realized that he had fallen into a trap. However, it was too late to react now. The expert from the Great Bat clan immediately wanted to travel through space to escape. However, he forgot that this space had been sealed by him. It was impossible for him to enter or exit. He could not travel through space at all. Therefore, this caused him to be stunned once again. At this crucial moment, Kang Shinmu's starry sky killing formation was finally activated. There was no prelude, and there wasn't much movement either. Countless strands of inheritance energy condensed into starry blades, and they rose incessantly from the formation. After that, they condensed into a starry slaughtering formation blade tornado that swept towards the body of inheritance of the expert from the Great Bat clan. In the blink of an eye, the giant aquamarine bat body was enveloped by the endless starry sky killing formation blade tornado. It was like a punishment from the heavens. Once the starry sky killing formation was activated, a supreme god would be destroyed. The expert from the Great Bat clan would never have thought that he would be treated as prey when he was the hunter. At this moment, it was too late for him to regret. The power of the starry sky killing formation had completely exceeded the level that he could withstand. Although he was not killed directly, he had no way to escape as the space was sealed. He was constantly bombarded by the power of the starry sky killing formation. In the end, after 3 breaths, the body of inheritance of the Great Bat clan, the giant aquamarine bat, was slashed into countless pieces by the starry sky killing formation. It did not have the slightest ability to resist. It did not even have the time to put up any defensive measures. Immediately after, Kang Shinmu did not let the scene spread out. Instead, his devouring power quickly surrounded the scene and devoured all the power present. The 4 astral divine dragon doppelgangers from before had naturally disappeared. They had turned into the power of the killing formation and had become the killing weapons that killed the experts from the Great Bat clan. As for the body of inheritance of the Great Bat clan, it had also been devoured by Kang Shinmu's devouring power and turned into the purest energy that Kang Shinmu had expended. In the end, Kang Shinmu had eliminated the Supreme God Level 4 expert from the Great Bat clan. He could finally heave a sigh of relief. At the entrance of the dense forest valley, Kang Shinmu had found quite a number of good items. They all belonged to the Supreme God Level 4 expert from the Great Bat clan. However, there were not many precious cultivation resources. There were only some battle resources. They were battle elixirs that only the Great Bat clan could consume. These elixirs were very valuable. However, they were useless to Kang Shinmu. He could still exchange them for quite a number of achievement points. As for what the stronghold wanted to do with these, it was naturally to use them to negotiate with the Great Bat clan in the future or to make some trades between them. After all, if he could obtain elixirs from the Great Bat clan here, the Great Bat clan could also obtain elixirs from the Dragon God's clan. At this stage of the war, it was impossible. However, after the war, both parties could still discuss a trade for mutual benefits. Even if the other party did not want to trade, resources were very scarce after the war. These elixirs were also very valuable. It was also very uncomfortable to see the Dragon God's clan hoard them. There were also 3 Supreme God combat weapons from the Great Bat clan. One of these 3 Supreme God combat weapons was the top-grade kind. It was a pity that the expert from the Great Bat clan did not even have the chance to use this combat weapon. He was ambushed and killed by Kang Shinmu's starry sky killing formation. He did not even have the chance to use his combat weapon. Although it was Kang Xinmu's victory this time, Kang Xinmu was also a little emotional and wary. It seemed like he had to be more careful on the battlefield in the future. This was especially so when he thought that he was the hunter and was about to kill his opponent. He had to be wary of whether he had already become someone else's prey. This Supreme God Level 4 expert from the Great Bat clan might have been wary of this. However, Kang Xinmu's disguise was too good and the other party did not react in time. Chapter 50-32. Not long after, Kang Xinmu left the dense forest valley. He counted his gains and found them to be pretty good. A high-grade earth element spiritual energy essence was useless to him, but it was worth more than 100,000 gold dragon coins, which could be exchanged for many achievement points. In addition to the Supreme God Level 4 Great Bat Race Warrior, the achievement points that Kang Xinmu obtained could be exchanged for at least one Dubhe Stone Liquid. As for the 3 Supreme God combat weapons of the Great Bat race, he had earned them for free. These 3 transcendent divine weapons of the Great Bat clan were also very valuable. They were worth more than 100,000 gold dragon coins. Of course, the transcendent divine weapons of the Great Bat clan were useless to the dragon gods. Other than using them to trade with their opponents, they could only be smelted into materials. Once they were smelted into materials for forging, their value would be greatly reduced. They might only be worth 50,000 to 60,000 gold dragon coins. Of course, if they were exchanged for achievement points, their value would definitely be higher. What they could do with them in the future would have nothing to do with Kang Xinmu. Kang Xinmu would not care about so many things. He only wanted the achievement points. After leaving the dense forest valley, Kang Xinmu continued to hide. He had previously received news from Gu Xinyue, saying that she had found the target of this operation, Deputy General Yu Fu. Just now, Kang Xinmu wanted to deal with the Great Bat Race Warrior, so he had asked Gu Xinyue to investigate the surroundings of the Deputy General Yu Fu. And during this period of time, Gu Xinyue had indeed sent back news. The 4 of them had gathered together and were hiding around the Deputy General Yu Fu. The Deputy General Yu Fu and the 2 Supreme God Level 3 warriors were still in the cave, planning some army strategies. The environment within a radius of 1,000 miles had basically been investigated by Gu Xinyue and the rest. However, they hadn't set up any traps yet. After all, Deputy General Yu Fu was too strong. With the current strength of Gu Xinyue and the others, even if they joined forces to set up a starry sky killing formation, they might not be able to kill Deputy General Yu Fu in one strike. Thus, they didn't take any action to avoid alerting the enemy and wasting all their previous efforts. They were waiting for Kang Xinmu to come over so that they could act together. They were mainly waiting for Kang Xinmu's plan. No matter what Kang Xinmu said, they would carry it out without hesitation. This gave Kang Xinmu a headache. Gu Xinyue was too obedient. It didn't seem like her usual style. However, Gu Xinyue was only obedient in front of Kang Xinmu. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be able to get Gu Xinyue to do anything. Until now, Kang Xinmu wasn't completely sure if anything had happened between him and Gu Xinyue. Her nightmare illusory dragon power was mysterious, making it hard for people to distinguish between real and fake. Why are you thinking about this again? Kang Xinmu shook his head and hurriedly returned to his senses. He traveled through space in the direction of Gu Xinyue and the rest. Not long after, Kang Xinmu used his strong understanding of the spatial attribute void power to travel through space and arrive at where Gu Xinyue and the rest were. Kang Xinmu immediately saw Gu Xinyue and the other 3 gathered together. We've already scouted out the surroundings within a radius of 1,000 miles. We didn't even let go of the underground. Wei Xiaoning even drew a topographic map. You can take a look and see where we're going to set the trap. Gu Xinyue handed a jade slip to Kang Xinmu. It unfurled into a three-dimensional map drawn in the air. Kang Xinmu glanced at it and found that the general terrain within a 1,000-kilometer radius was basically all drawn into the map. He carefully looked at the map and quickly chose a spot. This place looks pretty good. It's connected to the cave they're in right now. As long as we can force them into the cave, they'll definitely come to the deepest part of this underground cave. If we enter the deepest part of the cave ahead of time and set up the trap, we'll be able to lure them in and kill them. In that case, won't we have to walk right past them? Chen Chong frowned. That's not difficult. Kang Xinmu smiled. I can make everyone hide so that they won't be able to find us. What I'm more worried about is how to lure them into our trap. The place he had arranged to set up the trap was the deepest part of the underground cave. There were no other exits in the deepest part of the cave. The ground of the outland stronghold was very sturdy. Unless it was a supreme expert, it was impossible to destroy too much of the terrain. Youfu's strength wasn't enough to break through the obstacles in the deepest part of the cave. Therefore, it was very convenient for Kang Xinmu and the others. They could set up spatial seals in one direction and condense their power to the maximum, making it difficult for the enemy to escape. The key was just as Kang Xinmu had said. How were they going to lure Youfu into the depths of the cave? This was a very difficult task. It won't be easy to drive them in. Chu Yueqiang shook her head. Chu Yueqiang shook her head and said, there must be an existence stronger than them at the entrance of the cave, only then will they be able to escape. But we can think of other ways. For example, what can we find to lure them into the deepest part? To Youfu, what he wants to do the most now is to win this war. At the very least, he wants to take down the surrounding area and let the Divine Bat clan occupy it. Kang Xinmu narrowed his eyes when he heard her. He thought about it and said, the person in charge of the dragon gods in this area seems to be a supreme god level 4 expert, right? How about this? I'll disguise myself as a severely injured supreme god level 4 dragon god. In that case, Youfu won't let go of this opportunity. The power of inheritance in the starry sky could completely simulate a doppelganger. Although it was almost impossible to simulate a supreme god level 4 dragon god clan that exceeded his own realm, it was feasible for Jiang Shenwu. Ordinary people couldn't do it because it would require more than 10 times their strength. But to Kang Xinmu, it wasn't too difficult. At most, he would devour 10 demonic elixirs to replenish his strength. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be able to do it even if they had a lot of elixirs to recover their strength. After all, the recovery speed of elixirs was too slow. It wasn't enough to support a cultivator to continuously create a clone. But Kang Xinmu's devouring power was much stronger than the elixirs. His recovery speed was almost instantaneous. Chapter 50-33. Thus, the plan was decided. Kang Xinmu naturally had to carry out his plan. However, before that, they had to sneak into the deepest part of the cave where Deputy General Yu Fu was and set up a trap there. That was the most convenient and reliable method. If they set up a trap elsewhere, the other party might notice something amiss and escape. However, in the deepest part of the cave, even if the other party noticed something amiss, there was no way out. Thus, Kang Xinmu made his decision. Then, Kang Xinmu led the 4 of them and used the concealment method of the galaxy inheritance. He condensed a series of galaxy runes and covered the 5 of them. In an instant, the figures and auras of the 5 of them disappeared from the field. Kang Xinmu used the ability of the centipede ink beast. Whether it was in terms of concealment or perception, the centipede ink beast's ability was the strongest. At that moment, Kang Xinmu's galaxy runes were enhanced by the centipede ink beast's ability, allowing the 5 of them to completely conceal their figures and auras. Unless one reached Transcendent God Stage 7, it would be impossible to discover them. Then, Kang Xinmu led the 4 of them and flew toward the cave where Deputy General Yu Fu was. Although Kang Xinmu could hide them in the galaxy's small world, Kang Xinmu wanted them to observe and feel the strength of Deputy General Yu Fu from a close distance. This way, it would be helpful for them to surround and kill Deputy General Yu Fu later. After all, it was one thing to set up a trap. If Deputy General Yu Fu reacted before he reached the trap and was prepared to retreat, they would still have to fight him head-on. Now that they could observe and familiarize themselves with him from a close distance, it would be easier for them to fight him head-on. Gu Xinyue and the other three followed Kang Xinmu and quickly flew toward the cave. Their auras and figures were completely concealed in the void. Even when they looked outside, the scene was somewhat empty and abstract. However, from the outside, the four of them did not have any figures or auras at all. It was as if they did not exist at all. Soon, as they advanced through the cave, they sensed wave after wave of sensing power coming from the depths of the cave. This was the senses of Deputy General Yu Fu and the others. They were constantly scanning their surroundings. Unfortunately, Kang Xinmu's concealment technique had completely rendered their senses useless. As they continued to move forward, they soon saw Deputy General Yu Fu and two Supreme God Level 3 Great Bat Clan experts in a cave. They seemed to be discussing a strategy. They didn't even transform into the body of the Divine Bat Clan's legacy. Instead, they sat in the cave in their human form and discussed a battlefield map that looked like a sand table. Kang Xinmu's group of 5 arrived here, but the other party did not discover anything. In fact, the other party had laid out many detection array formations outside the cave, and even some space isolation array formations. Unfortunately, these array formations were all cracked by Kang Xinmu's Starry Sky inheritance, and did not play any role. Kang Xinmu didn't care about those array formations. He just let the 5 of them pass through the array formations and send them into a void crack. This way, they could perfectly deceive the opponent's perception array formations. They were already in front of the other party. Kang Xinmu observed and realized that Deputy General Yu Fu looked rather young. He was wearing a blood-red armor. That armor should be a transcendent god combat weapon. It was obvious that his defense was not weak. The aura of a level 4 Great Bat Clan expert continued to spread throughout the cave. Although he tried his best to conceal his own aura, it wasn't easy for a level 4 Great Bat Clan expert to conceal his aura. The stronger one was, the thicker their aura would be. To conceal one's aura, one needed a very powerful technique. For example, Kang Xinmu had to combine many techniques to completely conceal his aura. The 5 of them observed Deputy General Yu Fu's appearance and aura closely. They were very careful and didn't make any noise. They didn't stop in the cave. Instead, they quickly moved deeper into the cave. Behind Deputy General Yu Fu and the other 2 Super God Emperor Bat Clan experts, there was a cave that led deeper into the cave. That was Kang Xinmu's destination. They had to go there first to set up a trap. Very quickly, Kang Xinmu and the rest passed through the cave and went deeper into the cave. If they wanted to kill Deputy General Yu Fu, they had to be very confident. They couldn't let him escape. Although Jiang Shenwu had successfully killed a Transcendent God Stage 4 Great Bat Clan previously, it did not mean that he was confident of killing this Deputy General Yu Fu. After all, the Transcendent God Stage 4 Great Bat Clan had died because of his greed. If they didn't use any schemes now, it wouldn't be easy to kill Deputy General Yu Fu. Even Kang Xinmu couldn't set up a space sealing array so that Deputy General Yu Fu couldn't escape. If he gave Deputy General Yu Fu a chance, all his previous efforts would be in vain. Kang Xinmu couldn't take this risk. He had to succeed 100% of the time. As the 5 of them went deeper into the cave, they didn't feel any special aura. In other words, Deputy General Yu Fu and the rest didn't do anything in the deeper parts of the cave. The deeper they went into the cave, the less likely they were to set up an array. Very quickly, Kang Xinmu and the rest couldn't feel the aura of the Great Bat Clan experts anymore. Kong Shinmu heaved a sigh of relief. He relaxed and led the four of them forward. Very quickly, they came to the deepest part of the cave. The underground cave was vast, but the surrounding rock walls were very strong. Not to mention people like Kong Shinmu and Deputy General Yu Fu, even a supreme-level expert wouldn't be able to break through this rock wall. After all, this rock wall was deep underground, dozens of miles away from the surface. This was equivalent to a mountain range. Moreover, the rock wall of the Dragon God's clan's outer realm's small world was extremely hard. It couldn't be compared to the rock wall soil of other places. Very quickly, Kong Shinmu and the rest arrived at the deepest part of the cave and started setting up traps. The five of them worked together to set up a starry sky power killing array. If Kong Shinmu set up this starry sky power killing array himself, he could kill a level 4 Great Bat Clan expert. However, Deputy General Yu Fu seemed to have a strong defense. To be safe, the five of them worked together. This way, even a level 5 Great Bat Clan expert would feel threatened by the starry sky power killing array they set up. This killing array was enough to deal with Deputy General Yu Fu. Chapter 50-34. The trap had already been set up. Then, Kong Shinmu asked Gu Xinyue and the other three to guard the starry sky killing formation and waited for Kong Shinmu to lure the Deputy General Yu Fu into the depths of the cave. The method he thought of was to use the power of the starry sky to condense a level 4 Divine Dragon avatar. If the Divine Dragon avatar pretended to be seriously injured, it was very likely that it would attract the attention of the Deputy General Yu Fu. Kong Shinmu concealed himself and passed by the Deputy General Yu Fu and the other two. Then, he left the cave. Then, he went to a remote area outside the cave and used all his energy to devour the monster elixir and demonic elixir. As he continued to consume and devour, he finally condensed a powerful dragon god that looked like a level 4 divine dragon. The divine dragon body of the dragon god was actually condensed from the power of the starry sky. But on the surface, Kong Shinmu was able to simulate another kind of power, making it look like the dragon god generals that the dragon god clan had arranged for this battlefield. And on the surface, it looked like the dragon god was still seriously injured. Kong Shinmu checked carefully several times to ensure that there were no mistakes before he prepared to take action. Deputy General Yu Fu and the two experts from the Transcendental God Level 3 from the Divine Bat race were still discussing the battle strategy in the cave. At this moment, the Transcendental God Level 4 dragon gods that Jiang Shenwu had created charged into the cave in a panic. The simulated Divine Dragon avatar did not have much combat power. It only looked like a Level 4 Divine Dragon. But this caused Kong Shinmu to use up his energy more than 10 times. After using up more than 10 to 20 monster elixir and demonic elixir, he finally condensed the avatar. This avatar was only good-looking but useless. Therefore, it was basically impossible to use this method to fight. There was no need to think too much about it. But sometimes, it was quite useful to lure the opponent into a trap. As the Divine Dragon avatar that Kong Shinmu had condensed rushed into the cave, it immediately alerted the Deputy General Yu Fu and the two Level 3 Divine Dragon subordinates. For a moment, the three of them looked at each other and saw the seriousness in each other's eyes. A transcendent god stage for Dragon Warrior is here. Could it be that our position has been discovered? No, this transcendent god stage for Dragon Martial Artist seems to be severely injured. He barged into our place in a panic. Deputy General Yofu narrowed his eyes and quickly discovered that the other party's condition wasn't very good. A transcendent god stage for Dragon Warrior, could it be a top divine dragon? One of the transcendent god level 3 divine bat race experts frowned. The top divine dragon was the deputy general of the Dragon God clan in this area, and he was the expert who ruled all the Dragon God clan in this area. Once an accident happened to the divine dragon, the Dragon God clan army in this area would collapse by itself, and they would definitely retreat. If he could kill the extreme divine dragon, it would be a great merit for Deputy General Youfu. As for the dragon god clone that Kang Xinmu had condensed, it was really condensed according to the extreme divine dragon, and it managed to deceive the three guys in front of him. The main reason was that no one had encountered the ability of the star rune before. Hence, it was completely normal for them to be deceived by Kang Xinmu. Very quickly, Kang Xinmu manipulated the dragon god clone, which looked like the extreme divine dragon's clone, to barge into the cave and alert several perception arrays. After these perception arrays were alerted, Deputy General Youfu and the others completely understood the arrival of the extreme divine dragon and made preparations for it. Unfortunately, the speed of the apex divine dragon was a little faster than they had imagined. The Transcendent God Stage 4 dragon martial artist, who looked severely injured, barged in front of Deputy General Youfu and the others. Then, he looked extremely shocked and wanted to retreat. However, he seemed to hesitate for a moment and did not retreat. Instead, he barged into the depths of the cave. This action was really unexpected to Deputy General Youfu and the others. They had already planned to attack the extreme divine dragon and block him in the cave. Hence, they had already gathered all means to seal off the extreme divine dragon's escape route. However, they did not expect the extreme divine dragon to choose to escape into the depths of the cave. It is indeed an extreme divine dragon, and he is severely injured. A Transcendent God Stage 3 expert from the Great Bat Clan said immediately. It doesn't matter who injured him, and it doesn't matter if the person who injured him is still chasing him. Deputy General Youfu laughed coldly. As long as we can kill this extreme divine dragon, or even capture him alive, we will have made a great contribution. Who would have thought that while we were discussing the strategy to defeat the opponent, this opportunity would actually come to us? This was really something that he had not expected. Without any hesitation, he said to one of the Transcendent God Stage 3 subordinates, "You stay here. If other experts from the Great Bat Clan chase after us, delay them for us and save time." The other Transcendent God Stage 3 subordinate had to follow Deputy General Youfu to chase after the Extreme Divine Dragon. The Extreme Divine Dragon was not weak. Even if it was severely injured, Deputy General Youfu would not be careless. They had let the Extreme Divine Dragon chase into the depths of the cave. However, they did not think too much about it. How could they have known that this was a trap set by Kang Xinmu? Immediately, Deputy General Youfu brought a Transcendent God Stage 3 subordinate and headed deeper into the cave. He left behind a Transcendent God Stage 3 subordinate to guard the original cave. This Transcendent God Stage 3 subordinate was a little indignant. After all, this was a chance to make a contribution. If he did not participate in the operation personally, although he would definitely be rewarded with achievement points in the end, he would definitely get fewer items from killing the Extreme Divine Dragon. After all, everyone wanted more cultivation resources. He did not see what the Extreme Divine Dragon left behind after it was killed. Naturally, there would be fewer items. Deputy General Youfu and the other subordinate would not split it equally with him. Therefore, this Transcendent God Stage 3 subordinate looked a little distressed. However, he did not dare to have any objections to Deputy General Youfu's arrangements. He could only guard here obediently. After all, this was a battlefield. Military orders were obeyed. He could not go against Deputy General Youfu's orders. Unless he could see hope of breaking through to the Transcendent God Stage 4 and obtain the opportunity to do so, he would be qualified to challenge Deputy General Youfu. However, this fellow did not know that Deputy General Youfu's decision had allowed him to escape a calamity. Of course, escaping a calamity did not mean that he could escape a second calamity. Chapter 50-35. It did not matter if Deputy General Youfu wanted to escape or if anyone else wanted to pass by, they would be enveloped by the starry sky killing formation. After all, the entire cave was only so big. Kong Shinmu's starry sky-killing formation had already covered the entire cave. It would not be that easy to escape. At this moment, Kong Shinmu had already silently caught up with Deputy General Yu Fu and his subordinates who were chasing into the depths of the cave. The other party was hot on their heels, but Jiang Shenwu's starry sky divine dragon avatar was also extremely fast. It weaved through the cave from left to right and kept moving forward. Its figure was blurry and its speed was extremely fast. Deputy General Yu Fu laughed coldly. As expected of the famous mudfish. This old fellow runs really fast. It's a pity that the depths of the cave is a dead end. Let's see where he can run to. He quickly caught up. He was not in a hurry. After all, the entire cave was a dead end. There could not be any other exit. There was no way for the top divine dragon to escape to the deepest part of the cave. Deputy General Yu Fu chased at an extremely fast speed. He did not know that Kong Shinmu was hiding behind him. Very quickly, the other party had reached the deepest part of the cave. The doppelganger of the divine dragon had already reached the deepest part of the space. It looked very lost and desperate. Its whole body was bursting with power. It looked like it was ready to fight to the death. Deputy General Yu Fu leisurely chased after him with his Transcendent God Stage Level 3 subordinates. When they reached the deepest part of the space, they saw the top divine dragon squatting in the deepest part of the space in despair. He looked like he was ready to fight to the death. They could not help but laugh. Looks like this fellow has nowhere to run. Deputy General Yu Fu said calmly. He slowly transformed into the body of the Emperor Bat race. It was a huge, pitch-black bat. When this bat appeared, it had a pair of blue eyes on its pitch-black body. This pair of blue eyes stared at the top divine dragon. Top divine dragon, I did not expect a coward like you to have such a day. I wonder who did this to you. I really have to thank him for giving me this chance. However, the apex dragon god did not care about his sarcasm at all. Instead, he gathered his strength and seemed to be ready to fight with his life on the line. Upon seeing this, Deputy General Yu Fu felt that it was ridiculous. Under such circumstances, it could be said that he believed that the Supreme Dragon had no chance of survival. If you know what's good for you, surrender directly, and maybe we can spare your life. If the Dragon God clan values you, they will naturally give you something in exchange for your life. Deputy General Yu Fu said indifferently. His tone was emotionless. Unfortunately, the apex dragon god still ignored him. It looked like he was going to fight to the death. Alright, looks like you won't give up until you reach the Yellow River. You won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Deputy General Yu Fu did not waste any more time. He sneered and got his subordinates at the Transcendent God Stage 3 to guard the entrance. As for himself, he flew towards the place where the apex dragon god was. He wanted to capture the divine dragon alive. However, just as he approached the apex dragon god, the scenery around him suddenly changed. A series of star power appeared around him. The starry sky killing array that the five of them had set up together was activated at this moment. This scene caused Deputy General Yu Fu's expression to change slightly. He realized that he had fallen into an ambush. However, how long has this apex dragon god been here? How can he set up an ambush to deal with me? And what is the attribute of this killing array? Spatial attribute? Since when did the apex dragon god know how to use such a killing array? Deputy General Yu Fu felt that something was amiss. However, the power of the killing array around him did not seem to be a threat to him. This made him feel that it was a killing array that the apex dragon god had set up in a hurry. He could just casually defend against it. Therefore, he did not hesitate and continued to charge towards the apex dragon god. The pitch-black giant bat body turned into a pitch-black whirlwind that swept towards the apex dragon god. At this moment, a horrifying amount of power burst forth. The powerful existence at the Transcendent God stage 4 displayed its full strength in front of Kang Xinmu and the others. Deputy General Yu Fu's opponent was the Apex Dragon God. Therefore, Deputy General Yu Fu did not hold back at all. He attacked with all his might and tried to defeat the Apex Dragon God. However, just as he attacked with all his might, the body of the Apex Dragon God clan suddenly dissipated. It turned into a ray of starry light that dissipated into the surroundings. Everything turned into nothingness. This scene caused Deputy General Yu Fu to snap out of his daze. Apex Dragon God? There was no such thing as a Apex Dragon God. He had been tricked. He had been tricked into a killing array that had been set up beforehand. Who set up this trap? Deputy General Yu Fu roared angrily. His roar exploded into the surroundings and it contained some sort of angry power. The cultivators of the Emperor Bat clan were most adept at using sound wave martial arts. At that moment, accompanied by his furious roar, a terrifying destructive power suddenly shook the entire Starry Sky Power killing formation. It was a pity that this Starry Sky killing array was set up by the combined forces of Kang Xinmu and the other four. It was set up to deal with a Transcendent God Stage 4 opponent. At this moment, the killing array had already been activated. It was almost impossible for Deputy General Yu Fu to break out of the killing array. Immediately after, the Starry Sky killing array was activated. Endless starry blades swept towards Deputy General Yu Fu like a storm. With an endless momentum, they completely drowned Deputy General Yu Fu. Seeing this, Kang Xinmu heaved a sigh of relief. At the entrance of the cave, the Transcendent God Stage 3 expert from the Emperor Bat clan was dumbfounded. He was standing guard outside the Starry Sky killing array. Otherwise, he would have been ambushed like Deputy General Yu Fu. Given his combat power, he would have been killed in the Starry Sky killing array. However, who had set up this killing array? Deputy General Yu Fu's roars and screams could be heard continuously from the Starry Sky killing array. The Transcendent God Stage 3 expert from the Emperor Bat clan wanted to escape without looking back. It was obvious that he was frightened by the array. However, just as he turned around, he saw a pitch-black divine dragon appear in front of him. It was Kang Xinmu, who had been waiting here all this while. Behind him, four figures gradually appeared. Gu Xinyue, Chu Yueqiang, Chen Chong, and Wei Xiaoning did not transform into their divine dragon bodies. Instead, they appeared in human form in front of the Transcendent God Stage 3 expert from the Emperor Bat clan. Who are you? The Transcendent God Stage 3 expert from the Emperor Bat clan did not sense the aura of the divine dragon from Chen Chong and Wei Xiaoning. As for Gu Xinyue and Chu Yueqiang, their divine dragon auras were only at the peak of the Emperor level. To him, they were just a few pawns. However, at this moment, Deputy General Yu Fu was lying in ambush. This was definitely not an ordinary existence. Why do you care who we are? Anyway, you're going to die. Chen Zhao did not have the habit of being talkative. Anyway, he had nothing to say to a dead person. Although it was impossible for him to escape even if he told him, Chen Chong would definitely not let his opponent know his identity. Chapter 50-36. The exchange between the two parties was very short. Kang Xinmu did not give the other party a chance to speak and attacked directly. The terrifying power of the galaxy exploded at this moment. Galaxy decomposition. Jiang Shenwu had already mastered the method of disintegrating the starry sky to the point of perfection. Even if it was used against an opponent slightly stronger than him, it would still be able to create a good effect. Needless to say, Kang Xinmu was also a level 3 transcendent god. The grade of his galaxy inheritance had already reached level 3 transcendent god. Therefore, although he might not be able to defeat a level 4 transcendent god in a head-on fight, he would definitely surpass an ordinary level 3 transcendent god. The level 3 transcendent god from the Great Bat clan in front of him was naturally not a match for Kong Shinmu. When Kong Shinmu attacked with galaxy decomposition, the level 3 transcendent god from the Great Bat clan reacted quickly and used a technique to block Kong Shinmu's attack. Unfortunately, the power of galaxy decomposition exploded from the outside. Even the surrounding void started to disintegrate. Boundless destructive power enveloped the Great Bat clan powerhouse completely. The huge body of the Great Bat clan was disintegrated into pieces under the power of the disintegration of the starry sky. When Kong Shinmu attacked, Gu Xinyue and the other three guarded the back, not giving the Great Bat clan any chance to escape. Although the back was a dead end, Gu Xinyue and the rest did not wish for this fellow to run into the galaxy killing formation and join forces with Deputy General Yu Fu. The galaxy killing formation was already a sure-kill situation for Deputy General Yu Fu. However, if a level 3 transcendent god joined forces, who knew what Deputy General Yu Fu could do? If the two of them had some ultimate skills, they could join forces and make Kong Shinmu and the rest's plan go to waste. This time, the plan to kill Deputy General Yu Fu could not fail. Therefore, Gu Xinyue and the rest did not attack. Instead, they guarded the path to the killing formation to prevent any possibility of the other party turning the tables. In any case, Kong Shinmu alone was enough to deal with a transcendent god stage 3 divine bat race expert. At that moment, the power of the starry sky disintegration was unleashed. The Great Bat clan powerhouse was unable to resist it head-on and was disintegrated into countless pieces. As for his storage treasures and the war weapon of the Great Bat clan, they were taken away by Kong Shinmu. Gu Xinyue and the others did not care about these things. After all, what they needed now was the cultivation resources of the Starry Sky inheritance, and these resources were provided by Kong Shinmu. So what if Kong Shinmu took away some cultivation resources that were useless to them? Moreover, Gu Xinyue and Chu Yueqiang had different feelings for Kong Shinmu. Naturally, they would not be calculative with Kong Shinmu. As for Chen Chong and Wei Xiaoning, they could be considered as Kong Shinmu's subordinates and could be considered as Kong Shinmu's subordinates. It was their duty to help Kong Shinmu. As for what Kong Shinmu needed, they naturally would not ask. Now that the two of them were cultivating the Starry Sky inheritance, their future was on Kong Shinmu's shoulders. Therefore, they would not say much. In fact, they did not even feel that there was anything wrong with it. To them, Kong Shinmu was their boss. Very quickly, the transcendent god level 3 Great Bat clan expert died under Jiang Shenwu's Starry Sky decomposition. Deputy General Yu Fu was also killed by the Starry Sky killing formation. The inheritance body of the Great Bat clan was killed by the Starry Sky killing formation. Even until his death, Deputy General Yu Fu was unable to escape from the killing formation. He did not even manage to send a message. He died in the Starry Sky killing formation just like that. Then, Kong Shinmu went forward and took away all the belongings left behind by Deputy General Yu Fu. Among them was the evidence of Deputy General Yu Fu's death. He could take it back to the Sky Flower Fortress. Let's go. There was almost no movement from this assassination. When Kong Shinmu and the other four returned to the entrance of the cave, they found that the Transcendental God Level 3 Great Bat Clan powerhouse that Deputy General Yu Fu had left behind was still on duty and did not leave. Unfortunately, this fellow was already a dead man in Kong Shinmu's eyes. The entire space in the cave had been secretly sealed by Kong Shinmu. It was impossible for him to leave this place. In fact, this fellow could not even send a message out. When Kong Shinmu and the other four appeared from the depths of the cave, the Transcendental God Level 3 Great Bat Clan powerhouse immediately noticed them. Then, he was shocked. This person's expression was uncertain, but he was very smart. He immediately sensed that something was wrong. Before Kong Shinmu and the others got close, this fellow turned around and flew out of the cave. He wanted to escape. This fellow is quite clever. Kang Xinmu chuckled. Since he did not hide himself, it meant that he was not afraid that this fellow could escape. Kang Xinmu had previously set up a killing formation and a space sealing formation outside the cave. This transcendental god level 3 Great Bat Clan powerhouse would not be able to leave this cave alive. Very quickly, the Great Bat Clan powerhouse wanted to escape. However, he fell into the trap that Kang Xinmu had set up beforehand and was trapped by the Starry Sky Isolation Formation. Then, Kang Xinmu waved his hand and asked Gu Xinyue and the other three to attack. With the four of them working together, they surrounded the Transcendental God Level 3 Great Bat Clan powerhouse in the Starry Sky Isolation space. Although the four of them were only at the Transcendental God Level 2 Great Bat Clan, when they worked together, they could easily suppress this Transcendental God Level 3 Great Bat Clan powerhouse. When they attacked together, the power of the Starry Sky was linked. Even though the Transcendental God Level 3 Great Bat Clan powerhouse resisted with all his might, he could not avoid death. In the end, under endless doubts and indignation, he was killed by Gu Xinyue and the other three. Even until his death, this fellow could not understand why there were 5 strange fellows in the depths of the cave. 3 of them looked like peak emperor-level dragon martial artists. The other 2 didn't have any inheritance but were able to display powerful space attribute powers. Who were these people? Also, where did Deputy General Yu Fu go? Where did his colleagues go? Unfortunately, this fellow could not understand these questions even until his death. Gu Xinyue and the others would not give him a chance to understand these questions and killed him directly. Before this fellow died, he still asked who Kang Xinmu and the others were and where Deputy General Yu Fu had gone. Unfortunately, Gu Xinyue and the other 3 were not talkative people. They killed this fellow directly so that he could not rest in peace. It's over. Pack up. Chapter 50-37. In the Tianhua Fortress, Kang Xinmu handed over the rewards he had obtained from killing Deputy General Youfu and the Supreme God 4th Stage Great Bat Race Elite. As a reward, he received a total of 3 Dubhe Stone Liquids. These were the only 3 Dubhe Stone Liquids in the Tianhua Fortress. Other than that, the remaining achievement points were exchanged by Kang Xinmu for gold dragon coins. Together with the high-level spirit energy essence, Kang Xinmu received a total of 120,000 gold dragon coins. This time, it could be said to be a great harvest. Of course, what Kang Xinmu wanted the most was the Dubhe Stone Liquids. Unfortunately, there were only 3 Dubhe Stone Liquids left in the Tianhua Fortress. Now, Kang Xinmu had no choice but to leave the Tianhua Fortress. Kang Xinmu's actions in the Tianhua Fortress could be said to be secretive. After all, the terrain outside the Tianhua Fortress was too complicated. Even if he killed a Supreme God high-level Great Bat Race Elite, it would not be easy for the other party to notice and react, let alone kill Deputy General Youfu. Until now, the other party probably did not realize that Kang Xinmu had appeared on the battlefield of the Tianhua Fortress. Of course, it would not take long for the other party to notice. On the second day after Kang Xinmu left the Tianhua Fortress, the 4 major races, including the Fu Shui race and the Great Bat race, started to count. They asked the armies of the dragon gods on the battlefield of the Outland Fortress to see which army had died recently. After all, as the tumor of the 4 major races, Kang Xinmu had not appeared in their sights for a long time. Very quickly, when the person in charge of the Great Bat Race Army at the Tianhua Fortress counted, he discovered that Deputy General Youfu and another Supreme God 4th Stage Deputy General had died. If they were still alive, they would definitely respond to the person in charge of the army. The Great Bat Race had a special communication method within the army that could cross the entire battlefield. But because it was not very secretive, they would not use it under normal circumstances. Basically, they would only use it when counting and counting. This time, the other deputy generals and commanders all replied with the same message. However, Deputy General Yu Fu and the other level 4 deputy general did not reply. Finally, through tracing, they spent half a day to find the place where Deputy General Yu Fu and another deputy general had died. At the scene, I felt the power of the inheritance of the starry sky. It's Kong Shinmu. He came to the battlefield of the Sky Flower Fortress and killed 2 level 4 Supreme God deputy generals without a sound. When did that brat kill a level 4 transcendent god? This speed of improvement is too terrifying. I have to think of a countermeasure. The commanders of the 4 races gathered together, and soon the strategists came up with a way to deal with Kong Shinmu, Soaring Dragon Fortress. This was a medium-sized fortress of the dragon gods. The entire small world of the Soaring Dragon Fortress was a ring-shaped world. In the center of the ring world was an endless void that could annihilate all living things. Outside the ring world was also an endless void. The Soaring Dragon Fortress was located in the east of this ring world. Now, the west of the small world of the Soaring Dragon Fortress had become the territory of the Devil Leader clan. Because the small world of the Soaring Dragon Fortress had been breached once, the defense of the Soaring Dragon Fortress was several times tighter than before. As a result, the Devil Leader clan had placed this place as the focus of their attack. It could be said that the small world of the Soaring Dragon Fortress was one of the fortresses with the most intense battles among the various dragon gods. There were not many small battles, but when there was a big battle, it was a battlefield with tens of millions of casualties. The battlefield was indescribably tragic. Usually, it was relatively peaceful. When Kong Shinmu arrived at the Soaring Dragon Fortress, it was the time when a big battle was about to begin. Moya brought Kong Shinmu to the Soaring Dragon Fortress. The murderous aura in the Soaring Dragon Fortress was stronger than that of the other fortresses. Moreover, those who came here were basically the stronger cultivators of the dragon gods. The reason why there were no weaklings here was because there was a big battle taking place here. In a big battle, if one was not strong enough, they would basically be cannon fodder. There was no chance of survival. Therefore, the weak cultivators of the dragon gods would not come here at all. They had to be at least emperor-level existences to have the courage to come to the Soaring Dragon Fortress and participate in the big battles that occurred from time to time. When Jiang Shenwu came here, the last battle had just ended more than 10 days ago. The entire Dragon Soaring Fortress had more or less been rested and reorganized, and it had also absorbed more cultivators of the Dragon God clan. The Soaring Dragon Fortress has a total of 3 portions of Dubhe stone liquid. Moya looked at the information on the jade slip and quickly said gently, "Of course, this is the previous record." Now, the Soaring Dragon Fortress has a total of 6 portions of Dubhe stone liquid. This is the result I just learned from the commander of the Soaring Dragon Fortress. 6 portions of Dubhe stone liquid. This was considered good news for Kong Shinmu. Originally, he had decided which fortress to go to based on the amount of Dubhe stone liquid. However, after such a long time, the Soaring Dragon Fortress, which originally only had 3 portions of Dubhe stone liquid, now had 6 portions. This surprised Kong Shinmu. The battlefields of the Soaring Dragon Fortress are almost all big battlefields. Moya continued in a gentle voice, "In such a big battlefield, as long as you kill a relatively important opponent, the other party will notice. Therefore, it is basically impossible to obtain enough battle merits to obtain 6 portions of Dubhe stone liquid. With your current strength, you can kill a transcendent god stage 4 expert from the Devil Fiend tribe. However, once you kill one person at most, the other party will notice you and target you. It will be too difficult to achieve anything after that. Every time on the battlefields of the Soaring Dragon Fortress, there will be supreme powerhouses fighting. There are also many supreme god powerhouses. On such a big battlefield, if you are not careful, you may be consigned to eternal damnation." When Kong Shinmu heard this, he nodded to himself. It was not that he had not encountered such a big battlefield before. However, previously, the 4 major races had not reacted. He was a genius dragon god who had the ability to kill powerhouses above his level. Now, the 4 major races were definitely on guard against him. The Devil Leader army in the small world of the Soaring Dragon Fortress definitely had some understanding of him. As long as he appeared, if he could not kill one of them instantly, then he would basically have to say goodbye to the Soaring Dragon Fortress. This was because as long as he appeared here once, the other party would know where he was. If he wanted to attack in the Soaring Dragon Fortress, it would become extremely difficult. He might even fall into the other party's ambush and trap. Kang Xinmu believed that the 4 major races would definitely want to kill him now. Moreover, they would want to hack him into pieces. Chapter 50-38. Kang Xinmu had thought about this operation in the Soaring Dragon Fortress carefully. The environment of the Soaring Dragon Fortress was not friendly to him. However, it was not impossible to obtain more achievement points in such an environment. In a large-scale chaotic battlefield, Kang Xinmu did not have many opportunities. However, it was not impossible to obtain more achievement points. As long as he did the right thing, he would be able to kill more 4th-level Supreme God opponents at the same time. A Transcendental God Stage 4 could exchange for about 2 portions of Heaven's Core Stone Liquid. To exchange for all 6 portions of Heaven's Core Stone Liquid from the Soaring Dragon Stronghold, he would need to kill at least 3 Transcendental God Stage 4 Devil Chiefs. To Jiang Shenwu, killing a powerhouse from the Devil Fiend tribe was not a problem at all. Killing 2 of them wasn't too big of a problem. As long as Gu Xinyue and the other 3 trapped one of them, it would be fine. As long as he was fast enough, Kang Xinmu could kill 2 4th-level Supreme God Devil Chiefs. However, it would be extremely difficult to kill the 3rd expert from the Devil Kuei tribe. Kang Xinmu thought about it but could not think of a way to do it. After all, if he killed the first 4th-level Supreme God Devil Chiefs, there would definitely be higher-level Supreme God Devil Chiefs coming to deal with him. Maybe I should attack the target of the 5th-level Supreme God? Kang Xinmu thought to himself. He felt that this was a little difficult. The 5th level of the Transcendent God realm was much stronger than the 4th level. It would be very difficult for Jiang Shenwu, Gu Xinyue, and the others to kill an opponent at the 5th level of the Transcendent God realm. Unless they met a heavily injured 5th-level Supreme God. However, such a heavily injured 5th-level Supreme God would basically be close to their own commander in the chaotic battlefield. In other words, if they wanted to kill such a heavily injured 5th-level Supreme God, they would have to be very close to the other party's high-level commander or even a Supreme God commander. Once Kang Xinmu revealed himself, he would probably be seen as a target the moment he attacked. There's no other way. I can only wait and see. Kang Xinmu thought. If he did not have a good opportunity, Kang Xinmu could only choose to kill 2 transcendent gods at the 4th level. It was not a bad choice to be able to exchange for 4 Dubhe Stone Liquid. As for the remaining 2 portions, could he come back in a few months? No matter what, this war was about to begin. On the 2nd day after Kang Xinmu arrived at the Dragon Soaring Fortress, the entire Dragon Soaring Fortress was already completely tense. All the experts of the Dragon God clan, be it the experts of the army or the dragon martial artists, were nervously preparing for war. Outside the Soaring Dragon Fortress, one could also sense the auras of powerful devil fiends constantly appearing in the void. The other party was also constantly investigating the situation of the Soaring Dragon Stronghold. This large-scale chaotic battle was a siege battle. The Devil Kuei tribe had already occupied a large area in the Soaring Dragon Stronghold, and they had been attacking the stronghold for a long time. The Soaring Dragon Stronghold had been breached once before. This also caused the Dragon God clan to have a supreme holy land. Many experts of the Dragon God clan and the Devil Kuei tribe, all of them at the supreme level, were facing off against each other. The experts of the Dragon God clan could not defeat their opponents in one fell swoop, so they did not dare to act rashly. As for the experts of the Devil Kuei tribe, they could not break through the breakthrough of the supreme experts of the Dragon God clan and cause trouble in other areas of the Dragon God clan. The Soaring Dragon stronghold was now the top priority for both sides. The other side chose to attack the stronghold, and the Dragon God clan had to think of ways to defend the stronghold. The war was on the verge of breaking out. Kang Xinmu was also prepared, and he discussed a strategy with Gu Xinyue and the others. When the war began, the five of them would hide together and sneak into the battlefield to find easier targets. This time, their main target was the transcendent gods at the fourth level of the Devil Kuei tribe army. As long as there were two transcendent gods at the fourth level of the Devil Kuei tribe who were close, Kang Xinmu would target them. This time, Kang Xinmu also prepared a lot of recovery elixirs for Gu Xinyue and the others. These elixirs were suitable for the inheritors of the power of the starry sky, and they came from the temple in the small starry sky world. These recovery elixirs were not as effective as Kang Xinmu's devouring power. But compared to the recovery elixirs of other inheritors, the speed of recovery was several times faster. Since the war was about to start, these recovery elixirs were necessary, and they were also needed to recover from injuries. Kang Xinmu had prepared all the recovery elixirs, and he gave each person 2 small bottles. If Kang Xinmu wanted to take these recovery elixirs from the temple in the small starry sky world, there was a limit. Basically, he could only take out a portion of them every month. The inheritance had set a limit for Kang Xinmu, so Kang Xinmu could not take out elixirs without limit. However, Kang Xinmu had not used these elixirs before, so he had accumulated a lot of them. He gave Gu Xinyue and the others 2 small bottles each, so that they might come in handy at critical times. As for Kang Xinmu, he found a training team in the Soaring Dragon Fortress in advance. This training team of dragon martialists had a total of 12 people, and they were well equipped. There were dragon martialists of all attributes, so Kang Xinmu found them. What? You're paying us to attack you for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn out? When they heard Kang Xinmu's request, the dragon martialists in the team thought that they had heard wrong. The leader of this training team was a woman at the first level of the Transcendent God realm. She looked rather young, and she had obtained the inheritance of the celestial snow frosty dragon, which was the power of the ice attribute. That's right. I hope that you can help me adapt to the attacks of different attributes. This will strengthen my adaptability and prepare for the upcoming war. Kang Xinmu said with a smile. Kang Xinmu had come alone. Facing the 12 members of the training team, he did not look nervous at all. This surprised the young lady who had inherited the celestial snow frosty dragon's inheritance. The young lady was wearing a blue robe, which looked rather simple. However, to be able to reach the first level of the Transcendent God realm at such a young age, she was definitely not as simple as she looked. In her eyes, Kang Xinmu was just a peak emperor-level dragon martialist. Although the training team she led was not very strong, it was not weak either. Could a mere peak emperor-level dragon martialist really withstand their attacks for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn out? Kid, are you making fun of us? Behind the young lady, a rather handsome and sunny young man suddenly stood up. This person was also at the first level of the Transcendent God realm. It seemed like he was the young lady's suitor. As soon as he stood up, he looked at Kang Xinmu with suspicion. Chapter 50-39. Hearing her question, Kang Xinmu smiled bitterly. Paying someone else to beat him up sounded a little inconceivable. This kind of request was indeed not common at other times, and could even be said to be extremely rare. However, Jiang Shenwu really did have such a request now. He wanted to devour the opponent's 12 different elemental powers to increase his own resistance to them. Hence, he could only explain, I know this request sounds unbelievable. However, don't worry, I just have some personal special requests. No. The Transcendental God Level 1 female dragon warrior frowned and said, "Your request is too strange. No matter how I look at it, it seems a little like a scam. We can't accept it. Moreover, we still have important things to do. The battle is coming, we have to be prepared." Scam? Kang Xinmu was shocked. He did not expect the other party to have such an idea. However, thinking about it carefully, it did seem to be the case. If Kang Xinmu really wanted to scam them, it would not be easy to deal with if someone jumped out to accuse him after the other party severely injured him. Hence, Kang Xinmu could only communicate with Moya. Moya was not by his side, but he could communicate with her for some reason. This seemed to be one of Moya's abilities. Kang Xinmu was not sure what elemental power it was. After communicating for a while, Kang Xinmu thought of an idea. Hence, he took a few more steps and stopped the team led by the young girl. "Everyone, if you are just afraid of scamming, I can get the Deputy General of the Soaring Dragon Fortress to testify. Then, even if I am severely injured by you, you will not be responsible." Kang Xinmu quickly said, "Also, if the 12 of you perform to my satisfaction, I will give each of you 1,000 gold dragon coins." 1,000 gold dragon coins meant 12,000 gold dragon coins for the 12 of them. As a reward for their help once, this was already considered quite a generous amount. It was so generous that the other party did not dare to imagine they could get 1,000 gold dragon coins just by attacking someone for the time it took for an incense stick to burn. How could there be such a cheap thing in the world? The young lady of the celestial snow frost dragon lineage was stunned. She looked at Kang Xinmu strangely. "You asked us to attack you for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. However, you're only a peak Emperor-level divine dragon's blood essence. Our team has 3 first-stage transcendent gods. Can you really hold on? Or are you saying that you don't need our supreme god-level members to go all out? There's no need. Just use your full strength. Also, the time it takes for an incense stick to burn is only a rough estimate." Kang Xinmu explained, "You just need to keep attacking me until I'm satisfied. Of course, with your strength, it shouldn't take too long. An incense stick's time should be the average time." This was something that Kang Xinmu could estimate. "Since that's the case, then you should send a message to the Deputy General of the Soaring Dragon Fortress." The handsome young man at the first level of the Transcendent God sneered. He didn't believe that a peak Emperor-level dragon martial artist like Kang Xinmu would be able to get the Deputy General of the Soaring Dragon Fortress to testify for him. Within the entire Soaring Dragon Fortress, there were a total of more than 10 Deputy Generals. Each Deputy General held an important position and commanded an army of dragon martial artists. Although there were more than 10 Deputy Generals, each of them had an extraordinary status and were extremely powerful existences. How could a peak Emperor-level kid like Kang Xinmu be able to get the Deputy General of the fortress to come? Therefore, the handsome young man treated Kang Xinmu's words as a joke. Did he really think that they had nothing better to do? Seeing this situation, Kang Xinmu communicated with Moya. "Everyone, please wait a moment. Deputy General Qing Lin of the Soaring Dragon Fortress will be here soon." After Kang Xinmu finished communicating with Moya, he spoke to the team of 12. The team of 12 looked at each other, feeling a little puzzled. Could this peak Emperor-level kid in front of them really call for Deputy General Qing Lin? They had already experienced 3 major battles in the Soaring Dragon Fortress, so of course they knew the status of Deputy General Qing Lin. One had to know that Deputy General Qing Lin was an extremely powerful existence, ranked in the top 10 in the entire Soaring Dragon Fortress. This Deputy General Qing Lin was an existence at the peak of the Transcendent God Realm. He was just one step away from reaching the Supreme Realm. His combat power was even more terrifying. Deputy General Qing Lin, who had experienced hundreds of battles, had even withstood the attacks of a Supreme Realm powerhouse and lasted for a very long time alone. It was said that the merits that Deputy General Qing Lin had made in the Soaring Dragon Fortress were worth tens of millions of gold dragon coins. Of course, the merits that a deputy general of an expert army of this level had made could not be measured in gold dragon coins. Most importantly, without Deputy General Qing Lin, the possibility of the Soaring Dragon Fortress being breached increased. And now, Kang Xinmu, a peak emperor-level insignificant little dragon martial artist, actually said that he had invited Deputy General Qing Lin to come and testify for him? And to testify for him getting beaten up? Even if this kid really had some relationship with Deputy General Qing Lin, Deputy General Qing Lin would not come and testify for him, right? What was this? This was too funny. However, for some reason, none of the 12 people in the team wanted to leave immediately. Then we will wait for you for the time it takes to burn a stick of incense. The celestial snow frost dragon girl finally made the decision and said. Thank you. Kang Xinmu nodded. Perhaps it was because Kang Xinmu had indeed given a lot of remuneration, or perhaps it was because they were curious about Deputy General Qing Lin, that they did not leave impatiently. And this also gave Kang Xinmu a chance. In fact, Kang Xinmu could have directly applied to the Soaring Dragon Fortress to let the army's dragon martial artists attack him and let him devour the power of various attributes. But Kang Xinmu could not let others help him for free. Therefore, if he asked for the help of the army's dragon martial artists, he would definitely need to pay achievement points. To the army's dragon martial artists, they did not need too many gold dragon coins. Instead, achievement points were very scarce. And what Kang Xinmu lacked now was achievement points, therefore, it was better to use gold dragon coins to solve things that could be solved with gold dragon coins. Thus, everyone began to wait. And the two Supreme God Level 1 youths in the team stared at Kang Xinmu as if they were watching a good show, afraid that Kang Xinmu would run away. Chapter 50-40. The wait didn't last long. On the ordinary street of the Soaring Dragon Fortress, Kang Xinmu stopped the team of 12 cultivators and waited for the arrival of Deputy General Qing Lin. Just as the 12 members of the training team thought that Jiang Shenwu was fooling them, a voice suddenly rang out. Finally, there was a strong tremor on the street not far away. Deputy General Qing Lin hadn't transformed into a dragon, but even though he appeared in the form of a human, he was filled with terrifying power. He was a tall, muscular man in armor. He appeared on the street and rushed toward where Kang Xinmu was. Following Deputy General Qing Lin was a gentle young lady in white, Emoya. Emoya followed and smiled at Kang Xinmu from afar. Kang Xinmu nodded at her. Looking at Deputy General Qing Lin rushing over and feeling his powerful aura, he couldn't help but feel a little fascinated. This was an existence at the peak of the Supreme God level, just one step away from reaching the Supreme God level. Kang Xinmu's current cultivation level in the inheritance of the Dragon Gods was still at the peak of the Supreme God level. He hadn't even reached the Supreme God level, so he was more eager to reach Deputy General Qing Lin's current level. Although Kang Xinmu's inheritance of the Starry Sky had reached the third level of the Supreme God level, it was still far from the peak of the Supreme God level. When Deputy General Qing Lin appeared in front of everyone, the girl with the inheritance of the celestial snow frosty dragon and the team members she led were all completely dumbfounded. They really didn't expect that the legendary Deputy General Qing Lin would really appear in front of them like this. Who was this young dragon warrior who had made a strange request for them to attack? He looked like a peak emperor-level powerhouse. How could he invite a powerhouse like Deputy General Qing Lin? Everyone, I won't introduce this person's identity to all of you. After Deputy General Qing Lin arrived, he was quite swift and decisive. He didn't even think of exchanging greetings with the crowd. After all, he really had a lot of things to do. He was just passing by to testify for Kang Xinmu. Therefore, he said straightforwardly, in short, this young man is an important figure in our Soaring Dragon Fortress. In the upcoming battle, he will play a very big role. I can testify that his request is not a scam. Everyone, please rest assured, huh? Deputy General Qing Lin was quite forthright. After saying this, he smiled and patted Kang Xinmu's shoulder. Good luck, brother. I look forward to your performance. After saying that, the celestial snow-frost dragon girl could not help but feel excited. This was the first time she had seen someone at the level of Deputy General Qing Lin at such a close distance. Of course, her master in the Holy Land was an exception. Although her master was also at the level of Deputy General Qing Lin, he didn't have as much battle experience as Deputy General Qing Lin. One had to know that Deputy General Qing Lin was a super powerhouse who had always fought on the front lines of the Soaring Dragon Fortress. Her master, on the other hand, was not young anymore. He was just a small elder in the Supreme Holy Land. It could be said that the difference between the two sides was obvious. It was not that her master was at ease as an elder in the Holy Land and did not contribute to the battle of the dragon gods this time. It was just that every Holy Land definitely needed someone to guard it. However, with so many Holy Lands, there were only one or two who would be in danger. Most of the elders and powerhouses who guarded the Holy Land would not have the chance to take action. Moreover, her master was already old and had once made a great contribution to the dragon gods. It was just that he was not as tough as Deputy General Qing Lin. It was said that Deputy General Qing Lin's cultivation talent and blood compatibility could only allow him to cultivate to the 4th level of the Transcendent God. However, over the years, Deputy General Qing Lin had relied on his strong perseverance to allow him to reach the peak of the Transcendent God level. How many cultivation resources did this require? It was incalculable. However, Deputy General Qing Lin managed to do it. From this point alone, it was no wonder that he was a legendary figure. Of course, Deputy General Qing Lin had also relied on his own efforts to obtain so many cultivation resources. Over the years, he had made great achievements in the Soaring Dragon Fortress. When the Soaring Dragon Fortress had been breached, it was because of his and the other Soaring Dragon Fortress generals' efforts that the supreme powerhouses of the dragon gods had enough time to prepare and intercept the powerhouses of the Devil Kuei clan who had invaded the dragon gods' macro world. Otherwise, the group of powerhouses of the Devil Kuei clan who had invaded the dragon gods' macro world would have wreaked havoc in the dragon gods' macro world by now. Once such a situation occurred and there was internal chaos, the defending generals of these foreign fortresses would naturally be transferred back. At that time, it would be basically impossible to defend these foreign fortresses in all directions. It could be said that Deputy General Qing Lin, a powerful existence of the dragon gods, had sacrificed everything for the survival of the dragon gods. There were even many powerhouses who had sacrificed their lives for this. These were all powerhouses who were worthy of respect. It was not without reason that the young girl who inherited the heavenly snow-frosty dragon was excited at this moment. Seeing Deputy General Qing Lin's guarantee with her own eyes, the young girl felt relieved. Not only that, but it also made her even more curious about the identity of Kang Xinmu. Who was this young man in front of her? Okay, Senior Qing Lin, I understand. I will definitely cooperate with this junior brother. Although the young girl who inherited the heavenly snow-frosty dragon did not know the identity of Kang Xinmu, since Deputy General Qing Lin said that he had an important role, it could not be a lie. Not only her, but even the other 11 team members behind her now had a new impression of Kang Xinmu. Originally, the 2 first-level Supreme God youths had thought that Kang Xinmu was a scammer. They did not expect that he would really be able to invite Deputy General Qing Lin over. There was no doubt that they were now convinced. Only a fool would not make money. Moreover, helping Kang Xinmu was helping the Soaring Dragon Fortress. They were helping Deputy General Qing Lin. Why should they not do such a thing? Okay, then I will leave first. Deputy General Qing Lin laughed and turned to leave. Moya then came to Kang Shinmu's side and moved her veiled face close to his ear. She said softly and gently, "Do your best and get ready. I will continue to communicate with the fortress and provide you with information at the right time." Kang Shinmu nodded and saw Moya turn around and leave. This young girl had an enchanting aura, but Jiang Shenwu didn't know why Moya was so attractive. She clearly didn't seem to have any strength at all, and she looked soft and weak. However, that weak and petite body definitely contained shocking power. Moreover, Kang Shinmu did not know what that power was. Forget it. Anyway, she is familiar with Master. As long as I don't die, I will find out her identity sooner or later. Chapter 50-41. Following that, Kang Shinmu did not think too much about it. The young lady of the heavenly snow Frosty Frost Dragon became a little cautious. She came in front of Kang Shinmu and bowed to him. "Hello, junior brother. May I know your name?" The young lady of the heavenly snow Frosty Frost Dragon asked as she blinked and introduced herself. "I am Yu Rulan from the Heavenly Frost Holy Land." Kang Shinmu nodded and said, "Kang Shinmu from the Five Extremes Dark Ice Holy Land." Kang Shinmu from the Five Extremes Dark Ice Holy Land? Hearing this, Yu Rulan frowned slightly. She felt as if she had heard this name somewhere before, but she could not remember when she thought about it. It could not be helped. The Heavenly Frost Holy Land was very far from the Five Extremes Dark Ice Holy Land. Perhaps she had heard news about Kang Shinmu before, such as him defeating Zhao Qingtian, but she would not look into this kind of news. She would probably forget about it after glancing at it. After all, it was too far away. There was no need for her to understand it in detail. As for the other 11 people led by Yu Rulan, they had no impression of the name Jiang Shenwu. Although Kang Shinmu was quite famous now, he was only famous among the 4 hostile races. Within the dragon gods, he was not that famous. Only a few powerhouses knew about him. For example, people like Deputy General Qing Lin knew that Kang Shinmu had been sent by Emperor Shi to help. The main strategic significance of Kang Shinmu was that although he looked like a peak emperor-level powerhouse, he had 4 subordinates who had inherited the power of the starry sky that were at least at the 2nd level of the supreme god realm. Furthermore, he himself was a powerful existence that could almost reach the 4th level of the supreme god realm. Such an existence was of great strategic significance on the battlefield. It was even more useful than a true Supreme God Level 4 Dragon Martial Artist General. A true 4th level Supreme God Dragon Warrior General would be targeted by the other party's powerhouses the moment they entered the battlefield and would be restricted. But Kang Shinmu would not. On the battlefield, he was just like an ordinary peak martial emperor. In the chaotic battlefield environment, no one would notice him. However, his battle prowess was enough to allow him to rampage through the chaotic battlefield and kill a large number of enemy experts. The strategic significance of this was definitely not simple. "Alright, junior brother." The young girl, Yu Rulan, still felt that Kang Shinmu was not as powerful as her. After all, he seemed to be at the peak of the emperor level, so she called him junior brother. She didn't know what kind of strategic significance Kang Shinmu would have on the battlefield, but in any case, since Deputy General Qing Lin said so, she naturally believed it. It was impossible for her to doubt Kang Shinmu. "Since you want each of us to attack you for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, let's find a place." "Oh right, the 3 of us are at the 1st level of the Transcendent God stage." After Yu Rulan finished speaking to Kang Shinmu, she turned around and instructed her team members. "No, there's no need." Kang Shinmu immediately said, "Just use your full strength. Don't worry, your strength won't be able to hurt me. You won't be able to pose much of a threat to me. Furthermore, if you use your full strength, I will be able to complete my preparations as soon as possible." Preparations? Being beaten was the preparation before the battle? No one could understand the logic behind this. However, the two first-level Supreme God Stage youths and Yu Rulan were not convinced by Kong Shinmu's attitude. What did he mean by saying that their strength couldn't hurt Kong Shinmu? They were looking down on them too much. Jiang Shunwu was just a peak emperor-level brat. How could he have withstood the attack of a first-stage transcendent god? No matter what, they decided to teach Jiang Shunwu a lesson at the beginning of the match. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, everyone found the military training field of the Soaring Dragon Fortress as a training ground. This military training field was borrowed from the army of the Soaring Dragon Fortress after Kong Shinmu had communicated with Emoya. They could train there for 4 hours. This was also the training field with the best conditions and environment in the entire Soaring Dragon Fortress. The training field had its own array of heaven and earth spirit chi. It could allow the dragon gods who were training in it to quickly recover their strength. It could also strengthen the compatibility between people and the heaven and earth spirit chi. It might allow people to increase their cultivation level faster and cultivate dragon martial skills. Ordinary people were not qualified to come to such a training field. Therefore, after coming to such a training field, Yu Rulan and the others were completely convinced by Kong Shinmu's identity. His identity was definitely not ordinary. Otherwise, how could he borrow a venue like the training field? Of course, the area they rented was only a small part of the Legion martial arts field. In the entire Legion martial arts field, there were still many Legion dragon warriors cultivating. Kong Shinmu and the other 13 people entered the training field, but they did not attract anyone's attention. After all the dragon warriors were training intensely, and no one had the time to be distracted. Nothing could attract their attention. The upcoming battle was too important to them. Soon, Jiang Shunwu, Yu Rulan, and the others settled down in one of the military training grounds. I'll go first. One of Yu Rulan's vice-captains, the first-level Supreme God Stage youth who had always said that Kong Shinmu was a scammer, stood up first. He did not think that Kong Shinmu was a scammer now, but he was still unhappy that Kong Shinmu looked down on them. Was he not a threat to Kong Shinmu? He wanted to teach Kong Shinmu a lesson. Then, he went up. Yu Rulan reminded him, "Don't use your full strength. Just show off a little." What she meant was that it was fine to teach Kong Shinmu a lesson, but they must not really injure Kong Shinmu. Otherwise, if they did not make it in time for the upcoming battle, they would become sinners. "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." The young man nodded and went up to the stage. Kong Shinmu had already transformed into his pitch-black divine dragon body and was waiting in the training field. The youth transformed into the body of a thunder divine dragon. The body of a first-level Supreme God divine dragon looked several times bigger than Kong Shinmu's black dragon body. Moreover, the difference in aura between the two was huge. Now, Kong Shinmu looked like a small dragon warrior. His opponent, on the other hand, was like a powerful divine dragon. "Make your move." Kong Shinmu was not afraid at all. Instead, he calmly let his opponent make his move. "Humph, be careful." The youth snorted coldly, and the body of the thunder divine dragon exploded with an extremely powerful thunder power. Chapter 50-42. The new book, number 1 God of all times, had 30 chapters and 100,000 words today. He could read it just by searching it. And it was free. The young man did not think that his attack would pose no threat to Kong Shinmu. He was a level 1 transcendent god. He did not think too much about it. He planned to give Kong Shinmu a show of strength. He gathered 80% of his power and channeled it into the lightning. The lightning flashed on the training ground and exploded with terrifying power. It was the power of a level 1 transcendent god. It went berserk instantly. On the other hand, Jiang Shunwu's pitch-black divine dragon body appeared extremely calm and composed. The young man in front of him was not weak. He was indeed at the level of a level 1 transcendent god. Moreover, the power that he had exploded with was almost at the level of a level 1 transcendent god. If he used his full strength, he would probably be able to exchange a few blows with a level 2 transcendent god. Unfortunately, he was facing Kang Xinmu. Since Kang Xinmu had told his opponent to attack without worry, there would naturally be no problem. Starry Sky Decomposition. Kang Xinmu's Starry Sky Decomposition swept out at this moment. The power of the Starry Sky inheritance had the effect of decomposition and was integrated with endless devouring power. Although his opponent's lightning power was strong and violent, it had already touched Kang Xinmu's Starry Sky Decomposition and devouring power before it even reached him. The power of both sides collided with a loud bang. A terrifying power exploded in the arena at this moment. It even caused the dragon warriors in the surrounding training ground to look over. It was rare to see such a powerful collision in the training ground. After all, most of the dragon warriors in the army were emperor-level powerhouses. There were only a few transcendent gods. Now, a battle between two transcendent gods would definitely attract some attention. After all, the battle was about to begin. When they entered the battlefield, they might not be able to meet an evenly matched opponent. What if they met a transcendent god powerhouse? They had to familiarize themselves with the situation now. If they failed too quickly, their powerhouses would not be able to save them in time. In the arena, the young man who was at the first stage of the transcendent god realm was shocked by Kang Xinmu's move. He did not expect Kang Xinmu to be able to block his attack. This was too terrifying. This was the tyrannical power of a peak first stage transcendent god, and Kang Xinmu was only a peak emperor level. It was impossible for him to withstand it. Moreover, the young man at the first level of the transcendent god also noticed that the lightning power that he had unleashed seemed to be attracted away by Kang Xinmu very quickly. This guy is absorbing my energy? The young man realized something and was even more shocked. He felt that Kang Xinmu did not hire people to attack him for no reason. Instead, it was an action with a purpose. Now it seemed that this was indeed the case. Absorb power? What use would this Kang Xinmu have for absorbing his power? The young man at the first stage of the transcendent god realm could not understand, but he could not give up halfway. Since 80% of his power did not seem to affect Kang Xinmu at all, he would use even more power. Come on, release all the lightning, the power of the 5-blow thunderstruck. The young man completely released the power of thunder within his body. A terrifying aura rapidly condensed in front of Jiang Shenwu. Amidst the flashes of heavenly lightning, endless arcs of lightning circled the entire martial arts arena. A terrifying power erupted, but Kang Xinmu remained calm. It was still the power of the Starry Sky Decomposition and the devouring power. The combination of the two powers quickly devoured the endless lightning. This scene shocked many of the dragon martialists on and off the stage, as well as in other martial arts arenas. What kind of technique was this? How could it be so powerful? With one move, he had disintegrated the powerful lightning attack of the first stage of the transcendent god realm and even absorbed it? That was too terrifying. More importantly, the person who had used this technique was only at the peak of the emperor stage. For a time, many of the dragon warriors in the surrounding martial arts arena began to observe the situation here as long as they did not go on stage to practice. The situation on the battlefield was changing rapidly. They naturally had to observe what they had not seen before. The young man at the first stage of the transcendent god realm had not expected Kang Xinmu to be able to block his full-powered attack so easily. For a moment, he could not accept such an outcome. Come, continue. Kang Xinmu was opposite him. His pitch-black divine dragon body trembled slightly, even causing the void to tremble. According to the strength of your attack, half an incense stick will be enough. That's quite efficient. These words made the young man smile bitterly. This is already my strongest attack. I can't keep using my strongest attack. Now, he was completely convinced by Kang Shinmu. He realized that other than the cultivation of the dragon gods, Kang Shinmu seemed to have other inherited powers. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to do this. No matter how strong a peak emperor-level dragon warrior was, being able to block 80% of his attack was already a very powerful existence. There were probably not many people like that in the entire dragon gods. After all, 80% of his attack was already close to the peak of the first stage of the transcendent god realm. Not to mention that Kang Shinmu had easily blocked his full-powered attack. This made him understand that Kang Shinmu's true strength was definitely not just at the peak emperor level. He was even stronger than him. I heard a while ago that a few young dragon warriors seemed to have obtained some new inherited power. Could it be this Kang Shinmu? It's no wonder. Such a guy can indeed play a strategic role in a chaotic battlefield. The young man now had a slight understanding of something. Although he still did not know what use Kang Shinmu had for absorbing his power, no matter what, since Kang Shinmu was on the side of the dragon gods and had spent a lot of gold dragon coins, he should help Kang Shinmu. In that case, let's do it again. I'll help you. The young man was forthright and did not say much. He just did his best to release 80% of his thunder attack. As for Kang Shinmu, he used the starry sky decomposition and integrated it with his devouring power, devouring the thunder attribute power as fast as possible. After about half an hour, Kang Shinmu finally felt that the thunder attribute power he had devoured was full. This made his resistance to the thunder attribute power reach the limit. Absorbing and devouring the power of the thunder attribute was no longer of any use to Jiang Shenwu. So, Kang Shinmu said directly, "All right, thank you, senior brother. I have absorbed enough thunder attribute power. You can send someone else up." Chapter 50-43. Next, it was Yu Rulan's turn. She had the inheritance of the celestial snow and frost dragon, which was an ice-based power. For Kang Shinmu, he had to absorb the ice-based power to its fullest. Through Yu Rulan's attacks, Kang Shinmu realized that the dragon martial technique she cultivated was not very destructive. However, her techniques were accompanied by a strong control ability. Boundless ice, a storm that swept the entire area, and could even cause the entire space to freeze. This ability was considered quite powerful in a team battle. Coupled with Yu Rulan's personality, it was understandable that she could become the leader of this team. Yu Rulan's attacks were blocked by Kang Shinmu. He had completely absorbed the power that she had displayed. Kang Shinmu could feel that Yu Rulan's attacks were not as violent as the young man's. However, there was still a sense of threat in the coldness. If Kang Shinmu did not use his techniques to absorb her power, he would really be firmly controlled by her techniques. After all, Kang Shinmu's divine dragon body was only at the level of a peak emperor level. Although he could now compete with a fourth-stage supreme god with the power of the starry sky inheritance. If he did not use the power of the starry sky inheritance, his strength as a dragon martial artist would probably be similar to Yu Rulan and the rest. Therefore, when Kang Shinmu attacked, he was still quite cautious. Kang Shinmu used his keen senses to sense all the power released by the opponent. Then, he used the starry sky decomposition and devouring power to break down and absorb the opponent's power. This was the best way for Kang Shinmu to absorb and devour. The strength of your attacks is not bad. Although your lethality is not as good as that senior brother's, you should be more useful in a team battle. Jiang Shenwu said to Yu Rulan after half an incense stick's time, after he finished devouring the ice attribute energy. Yu Rulan did not know whether to laugh or cry when she heard this. She did not know if this was a compliment to her or something else. She had always felt that Kang Shinmu was her junior brother and treated her like a little brother. However, she did not expect that. Kong Shinmu would be able to withstand the bombardment of two first-stage supreme gods. He did not seem to feel any pressure at all. This made her understand that Kong Shinmu was a true transcendent. Otherwise, it would not have been so easy. When she got off the stage, she thought of the same speculation as the young man before her. Perhaps this Kong Shinmu was the genius who had just obtained a brand new inheritance? No wonder the 5 extreme mysterious ice holy lands Kong Shinmu sounded a little familiar. He must have come into contact with him before. It was just that he did not have a deep impression of him. Following that, Kong Shinmu took the brunt of his opponent's attacks one by one. Other than the 3 transcendent experts, Kong Shinmu spent less than an incense's time devouring and absorbing their power, raising his resistance to the extreme. As for the other peak-stage Emperor-class experts, they attacked Kong Shinmu for more than an incense's time. It did not take much time for all 12 of them to work together. There was still some time left in the 4 hours given by the martial arts arena. The battle is about to begin. I don't think we should waste the remaining time in the martial arts arena. The young man from the Thunder Divine Dragon suddenly suggested with a smile, "Why don't we go up together and spar with little brother Kong Shinmu? I can tell that little brother Kong Shinmu is very strong. Even if we team up, we might not be a match for him. How about it, Kong Shinmu? Do you want to spar with us?" When Kong Shinmu heard this guy's request, he did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, when he thought about the fact that this team was about to enter the chaotic battlefield, and that one of them might not be around the next time they met, they had helped Kong Shinmu once, so it was not bad that Kong Shinmu agreed to their request. Anyway, the battle had not begun yet, and there was nothing else for Kong Shinmu to prepare. Hence, he nodded and said, "All right. This can be considered a warm-up for everyone before stepping onto the battlefield." After all, Kong Shinmu did not feel any pressure. Moreover, he had made up his mind that he only needed to defend from now on. If they were to really fight, these people would not be a match for him. Even if they joined forces, they would not be able to withstand the starry sky disintegration alone. Of course, it would only be possible if the 12 of them formed a defensive formation together. However, in a real battle, how could they have the chance to form a defensive formation? Therefore, Kong Shinmu would not make a move. Immediately after, the 12 people entered the arena together. Yu Rulan was also eager to try. This was the first time she had met someone like Kong Shinmu. She wanted to spar with Kong Shinmu, and it would be best if she could see how much power Kong Shinmu had. In an instant, the 12 people's attacks all erupted, and they swept towards Kong Shinmu. After more than an hour, Kong Shinmu led the 12 people away from the arena. The last hour of sparring had exhausted the 12 people in Yu Rulan's team. Each of them was so exhausted that they were twitching. "Sigh, if I had known earlier, I would have let all of you fight together. It would have saved a lot of time." Kong Shinmu sighed. Just now, there were a total of 12 people fighting together, but Kong Shinmu did not feel much pressure. Instead, the speed at which he devoured power was much faster than when he fought one by one. This made Kong Shinmu feel a little regretful that he did not discover this method. At this moment, the 12 people in Yu Rulan's team were all listless and exhausted. Even Yu Rulan and the 2 first-stage transcendent gods were a little exhausted. The 3 of them had fought until the end, and they had been attacking for more than an hour. The others were supporting them from the side. It seemed like this was their strategy on the battlefield. Of course, if they really fought, there should be a first-stage transcendent god watching from the side. He would not make a move, lest the 3 transcendent gods were all exhausted. To be honest, Kong Shinmu felt that their joint strategy was not bad. At least such a team would still be able to fight against a second-stage transcendent god. At the very least, they would be able to buy some time. Moreover, such an elite team could cooperate well with each other. It seemed like they had experienced many difficult battles together. Moreover, there would definitely be sacrifices in the battle. In other words, this team might not have started with 12 people, at least not the current 12 people. Among the teams training in the Soaring Dragon Fortress, there was probably no team that could remain completely intact.